Chapter 493, Sect of Dragon and Tiger. 2. A single middle-aged man suited in armor cupped his hands together before speaking rather impassively. We are from the Sect of Dragon and Tiger. As of today, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom belongs to our sect. We hope that the Qinhuang Kingdom will leave the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom alone. Jian Chen's eyebrows furrowed together as his facial expression grew dark. Although he didn't know just what influence the Sect of Dragon and Tiger had, seeing that they weren't afraid of the Qinhuang Kingdom made Jian Chen understand that their strength wasn't ordinary. However, Jian Chen had sworn to eliminate the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. For the Sect of Dragon and Tiger to interfere and protect the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, Jian Chen felt quite displeased. Even the 10 imperial advisors and the 3 generals had sour looks on their faces as their eyes emitted fierce glints. For your Sect of Dragon and Tiger to interfere with the matters of our Qinhuang Kingdom, did you wish to make us your enemy? One of the imperial advisors spoke. He was one of the 5 that came along with the army. The middle-aged man truly didn't seem to fear the Qinhuang Kingdom at all. Smiling, he cupped his hands and spoke amicably. Sire's words are quite severe. Our Sect of Dragon and Tiger doesn't wish to make the Qinhuang Kingdom our enemy, but the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom has already become a part of the Sect of Dragon and Tiger to control. So by rights, we should interfere in this matter. With that, the man suddenly paused as if he realized the unyielding nature he displayed for the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was enough. His voice began to soften while he gave the Qinhuang Kingdom face. Just in case there was a possibility of offending the Qinhuang Kingdom still. The misunderstanding between the Jessan Kingdom and the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is something our sect understands. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom were in the wrong, and as the representative of their kingdom, our Sect of Dragon and Tiger wishes to apologize for the matter and compensate the king with a large sum of money in hopes of exchanging the banners of war with banners of silk and maintaining a friendly relationship. The man was clearly a high-ranking individual within the sect. Not only was he representing them, but he was able to dictate the fate of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom with a single phrase. Jian Chen showed a cold smile. Although he knew that the Sect of Dragon and Tiger didn't fear the Qinhuang Kingdom's strength, he didn't fear them either. I must eliminate the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, such a result is unchangeable. If your sect still wishes to go against us, then so be it. Jian Chen spoke with an unyielding voice, allowing everyone to know that the destruction of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was an unchanging decision. The blue-robed middle-aged man looked startled for a moment before a chilled frost entered his eyes. It was as if Jian Chen's words caused him to feel slightly angry. The other individuals from the Sect of Dragon and Tiger looked quite unwell as well. The words Jian Chen had just spoken seemed to have carried a threat to their ears. The war down below hadn't paused at all. Countless of magical crystal cannons continued to fire one after another toward the other camp, filling the air with dust. The Eastern Deity Sword's 500,000 soldiers and the many other soldiers from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had already engaged in a fierce battle. However, the war below didn't affect the Heaven Saint Masters up above. The blue-robed middle-aged man from the Sect of Dragon and Sect had only glared at Jian Chen. Sire, you must be the 4th master of the Changyang clan, Changyang Xiangtian. Becoming a Heaven Saint Master at such an age is truly a precedent within the entire Tianyuan continent, but Lord Changyang Xiangtian, this is a negotiation between the Sect of Dragon and Tiger and the Qinhuang Kingdom. You have no rights to partake in this, or do you possibly represent the entire Qinhuang Kingdom? When it came to Changyang Xiangtian, the man had been given his information by the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. However, what he knew was only limited to the intelligence from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Changyang Xiangtian is the imperial protector of our Qinhuang Kingdom. Could it be that an imperial protector of our Qinhuang Kingdom still isn't enough to represent our kingdom? Before Jian Chen could even speak, Xiao Tian replied furiously and glared dangerously at the middle-aged man. At Xiao Tian's words, both the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom and the Sect of Dragon and Tiger blanched and looked to Jian Chen. Even Georgian, who had seen Jian Chen several times before, couldn't help but blurt out in shock, "What? He's the imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom?" Georgian's face held complete and utter shock and disbelief. No one had expected the fourth master of the Changyang clan, Changyang Xiangtian, would be the imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom. Now that such information had been revealed, it easily explained why the Qinhuang kingdom had expended so much effort to help the Jessan kingdom. Jian Chen didn't react to having his identity revealed at all. Maintaining his regular expression, he looked to the men in front of him. "Do I have the right to represent the Qinhuang kingdom now?" The middle-aged man from the sect of Dragon and Tiger suddenly found it hard to swallow as he began to regret the words he spoke earlier. Never in his life would he have thought that this youth in front of him was actually the imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom. Although the sect of Dragon and Tiger was one of the top families within the Tianyuan continent and didn't seem to fear the Qinhuang kingdom, there was still a small difference in their strengths. The reason they dared go against the Qinhuang kingdom now was due to multiple factors. First of all, the distance between here and the Qinhuang kingdom was too far away. If they wished to go against the sect of Dragon and Tiger, they would need to expend a tremendous amount of money in order to do so. With the sect of Dragon and Tiger's strength, even the Qinhuang kingdom would receive a definite setback. Secondly, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was now a part of the sect of Dragon and Tiger's territory. Ruling over it was a right, and having their sect interfere was only proper. It was a matter of territory. Thirdly, because it had been a relatively small matter that caused this matter to occur, the sect of Dragon and Tiger thought they could apologize and pay a sum of money to make a molehill out of a mountain and dissolve the matter completely. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom hadn't done any substantial damage to the Jessan Kingdom. Only a few soldiers had died and the Imperial Palace had also been damaged, but that was nothing too major. If anything, only their reputation had taken a hit. The fact that the Jessan Kingdom had the help of the 500,000 soldiers from the Qinhuang Kingdom come over to help was more than enough to recover any face they had lost, if not more. Besides, the sect of Dragon and Tiger was not an easy target to bully either. It was almost for certain that the Qinhuang kingdom would not let such a trivial matter turn them into enemies, so the sect of Dragon and Tiger had decided to intervene on that chance. Like the Qinhuang kingdom, the sect of Dragon and Tiger had a saint ruler on their side, but their numbers weren't as many as the Qinhuang kingdom. However, now they had unexpectedly offended an imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom. This was no longer a small matter. An imperial protector held a status that wasn't lower than the king in the Qinhuang kingdom. With a few imperial protectors, they could even remove the current ruling king. The situation was starting to grow worse. The sect of Dragon and Tiger watched the small matter in front of them grow bigger and bigger. It wouldn't be long before both powers would end up clashing against each other. The middle-aged man cupped his hands toward Jian Chen in an apologetic manner. "This one is the assistant sect leader, Hu Ba. This one truly apologizes for my previous slight toward the imperial protector. This one hopes that the imperial protector will let this go." The man's attitude toward Jian Chen completely changed now that he had realized that Jian Chen was the main problem to deal with. The conflict between the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom and the Jessan Kingdom would depend on this youth for resolution. No longer squandering time on the small matters, Jian Chen spoke, "Assistant sect leader Hu Ba, my word still stands. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom will fall, but there is still time for your sect to back away." Jian Chen had expended a large amount of time and energy to bring the army of the Qinhuang Kingdom over. There was no way for him to easily turn back now. Jian Chen was not willing to turn away from his prize just yet. Hu Ba's face fell slightly as he spoke, "Imperial Protector, for a measly matter, you are willing to make our sect of Dragon and Tiger an enemy. Is that truly worth it? It is not that I am unwilling to let you go, but that you are doing your best to interfere with this matter. I will say it one more time. You still have time to back away from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom." Jian Chen spoke one final warning to the sect of Dragon and Tiger. If the Imperial Protector insists on this, then we have nothing more to say here either. Hu Ba spoke. Although the Qinhuang Kingdom was stronger than the sect of Dragon and Tiger, they did not fear the Qinhuang Kingdom. With the distance so far apart, the Qinhuang Kingdom would have to exert a lot of time, effort, and then a heavy price. After Hu Ba spoke, the individuals from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom and sect of Dragon and Tiger prepared to fight. With the sect of Dragon and Tiger backing them up, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom's fighters were fully motivated. Jian Chen harumphed before waving his hand, forward. The 10 imperial advisors and the 3 generals immediately flew toward the sect of Dragon and Tiger and Heavenly Eagle Kingdom's fighters. As the core members of the Qinhuang Kingdom, they were well aware of their own kingdom's strength, so they didn't think of the sect of Dragon and Tiger to be of any major importance. Whether it was in terms of Heaven Saint Masters or Saint Rulers, the Qinhuang Kingdom owned far more than the other side. Even in subsidiary kingdoms, the Qinhuang Kingdom possessed even more that added to their strength. Imperial Protector, please allow I, Hu Ba, to experience your masterstroke then. The assistant leader had finally thrown caution to the wind. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was of major importance to them, since it would further increase their power, thus, they needed to protect the kingdom. Furthermore, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was something the sect of Dragon and Tiger would drool at. They had tried to negotiate with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom many times in the past to gain their support, but all their attempts had ended in failure. Now that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom's king finally agreed to their negotiations, they would not relinquish their hold so fast. Even if it meant offending the Qinhuang Kingdom, it would not be too bad of a trade-off. Seeing Hu Ba come toward him, Jian Chen didn't feel any fear. Instead, he felt the urge of battle surge up from within. Chapter 494, Sect of Dragon and Tiger, 3. Hu Ba had only looked like he was a 40-year-old man, but in truth, his real age was way past 200 years old. He was a 5th cycle Heaven Saint Master because of his talents with cultivation. Combined with his status as the assistant sect leader and mastery of a terrifyingly strong Heaven tier battle skill, his battle strength was no weaker than Xiao Tian. While Jian Chen's age was generally far beneath what Hu Ba would consider to be taken seriously, Georgian had more or less explained Jian Chen's strength to him, so he didn't dare underestimate him now. Straight from the get-go, the man revealed his full strength. Materializing a saber that seemed capable of cleaving a mountain, he slashed it toward Jian Chen with an earth attribute to the blade and an ear-piercing sound. With a single thought, several thousand-arm-thick crossbow bolts began to float high into the air. An azure and violet glow began to shine around the crossbow bolts before shooting at Hu Ba with lightning-quick speed. The display of power was shocking, and the spectacle was nearly majestic in sight. With crossbow bolt after crossbow bolt zooming through the sky one after another, a single continuous ear-piercing whistle could be heard. Seeing the innumerable amount of steel crossbow bolts fly straight for him with an azure and violet glow, Hu Ba instantly thought back to what Georgian had told him. As his face fell, he brought his saber, which was originally about to chop into Jian Chen, back so that it could slash downward instead. With a brandish of the saber, a single bright glow of yellow light, 5 meters tall, materialized and struck against the crossbow bolts with the sounds of thunder. Hu Ba's strike had been even stronger than what one initially had thought. The moment the storm of crossbow bolts made contact with it, the crossbow bolts let out crisp splitting sounds before many of them were split in half by the light. When a 5th cycle Heaven Saint Master went all out, just how could anyone belittle their might? Despite Hu Ba's strike being unbelievably strong, the power and light eventually faded away. After breaking apart several hundred steel crossbow bolts, the light disappeared into thin air while the remaining crossbow bolts continued on without any hindrances to where Hu Ba was. Hu Ba displayed a serious look of concentration on his face. Just how do these regular steel crossbow bolts have such a strength under his control? An attack from those is enough to overwhelm the protective chi of a Heaven Saint Master, but it is still far from being a threat to me. Armor of the Earth God. A surge of Earth-attributed light began to explode from within Hu Ba's body. It instantly covered the surface of his body in a golden shell with an equally golden light radiating from it. The Earth-attributed Saint Force was the most defensive attribute out of the six and was sometimes referred to being the supreme defense. With Hu Ba being a fifth cycle Heaven Saint Master, his defensive strength would be incredibly stronger after it wrapped his entire body. It was more than enough to block several strikes from a Heaven Saint Master without breaking, and with Hu Ba using a supplementary Earth Tier battle skill, the Armor of the Earth God, his defense was even stronger. The Armor of the Earth God was a defensive type of skill that only an individual with an Earth-attributed Saint Force could use. Its protective ability was incredibly strong, and even a Heaven Saint Master would find it difficult to harm the wielder once it was on. If a Heaven Saint Master were to use an Earth Tier battle skill, they would possibly be able to break through the surface of the armor with some difficulty. However, if they wished to harm Hu Ba, who was currently wearing the Armor of the Earth God, a Heaven Tier battle skill would be required. With the Armor of the Earth God, Hu Ba no longer paid heed to the crossbow bolts down below. Only the sounds of the crossbow bolts pelting across his body could be heard, but even with the assistance of the azure and violet glow, the crossbow bolts were incapable of damaging him. Despite this, the force of the crossbow bolts continued to force Hu Ba to and from in the air. Ha! Hu Ba cried out angrily. The saber in his hand shot out another 3-meter-long blade of light, leaving behind mirror images of the blade as it traveled. The blade of light cut down the crossbow bolts around Hu Ba before he charged straight for Jian Chen. Go! At this moment, the remaining steel crossbow bolts had already formed 3 giant longswords right by Jian Chen's side. With a single command, the 3 floating swords of crossbow bolts immediately came shooting straight for Hu Ba. Insignificant worm, to death with you! Hu Ba shouted. The saber in his hand pulsated with another blade of Saint Force as it made contact with the 3 blades coming at him. Countless crossbow bolts shattered when 2 attacks touched. Many crossbow bolts were sent flying everywhere as a result. The very instant that Hu Ba had dispersed the 3 blades, he suddenly grew serious when he realized Jian Chen had already approached his front. In his originally empty hand, a fierce and rich glow of azure and violet light could be seen. Could that be the mysterious power that can break a saint weapon Georgian told me about? Hu Ba suddenly grew suspicious. If he were up against a power that could damage a saint weapon, even he had to be cautious. Jian Chen was using the origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits as a replacement for his light wind sword. He stabbed toward Hu Ba as if holding a sword. Knowing the terror of the origin energy, Hu Ba simply did not wish to go against it and hurriedly withdrew. With a loud shout at the same time, another 10-meter-long blade of light came forth from his saint weapon. With a power that seemed capable of bisecting an entire mountain, Jian Chen could faintly feel the faint image of a mountain right behind the strike along with an oppressing feeling. Earth Tier battle skill. Feeling the pressure beginning to mount up on his body, Jian Chen couldn't help but smirk in disdain. Unless he was going up against a Heaven Tier battle skill, anything else, even an Earth Tier battle skill, would not pose a threat to him at all. Controlling the origin energy of the sword spirits, Jian Chen took the initiative to defend himself against Hu Ba's Earth Tier battle skill. Without hesitation, he chased Hu Ba down and stabbed forward one stroke after another as if he were still using his light wind sword. Hu Ba was afraid of coming into contact with the origin energy. Dodging as best as he could, Hu Ba would sometimes lash out with the Earth Tier battle skill, but they were no use against Jian Chen. Not too long after, his heart began to pulsate with fury. I'll see for myself if the energy Georgian spoke of is that strong. We'll see if it can easily destroy the saint weapon of a Heaven Saint Master. Chapter 495, Destruction of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, 1. Although Hu Ba knew from Georgian that he should not make contact with the azure and violet glow, he wanted to give it a try nonetheless. He wanted to see just how strong the oddity that the azure and violet colors were. With an explosive shout, Hu Ba changed to a posture where he held his saber in both hands. The veins in his arms bulged as his saint force rippled endlessly through them into his saber. Imbued with the saint force, the saber began to glow brighter and brighter as the earthen glow gradually transformed into a golden glow of light. The dazzling golden light it was giving off was immeasurably bright, as if it was the stare of a god. In midair, it was like the shining sun that made it hard for anyone to keep their eyes open. The light in Hu Ba's eyes became intensely strong as he locked onto Jian Chen's figure. Then, with a low voice that barked out one word after another, he shouted, "Heaven tier battle skill, sun-devouring golden spark." At his words, an overwhelming amount of pressure suddenly came into being, as if a giant mountain had suddenly started to press down onto Jian Chen's body. Jian Chen's figure wavered in mid-air for a moment as the pressure locked on to him. There was finally a serious expression on Jian Chen's face. An earth-tier battle skill was something he could ignore, but a heaven-tier battle skill was something that even he had to pay close attention to. In the past, the heaven-tier battle skill that the patriarch of the Yangji sect had used had posed a threat to him. For Hu Ba, who was even stronger than the patriarch, the amount of power would definitely be even stronger. An earth-tier battle skill was only a single tier away from a heaven-tier battle skill, but the difference in strength was between the earth and the heavens themselves. There was no room for discussion, otherwise, they would not use the words earth and heaven to distinguish between the two battle skill tiers. Two resplendent glows of light suddenly exploded from Jian Chen's eyes. In the next moment, an azure and a violet glow appeared in them, causing his eyes to be overtaken by the two colors. They didn't even resemble eyes anymore, but with the weirdness of them, it would not be wrong to say he looked like a monster. Instead, it would be more apt to say he looked like a demon. Suddenly in the battlefield below, all of the crossbow bolts that hadn't floated into the air earlier started to fly into the air. Even the crossbow bolts that were being prepared to fire began to feel an invisible energy pull at them. One by one, they shot into the air before finally coming to a stop around Jian Chen's body. Every single crossbow bolt exuded the azure and violet sword chi, but the intensity of the chi was even stronger than before. In an instant, Jian Chen's figure was completely surrounded by the crossbow bolts. With him situated in the center of it all, Jian Chen seemed as if he was a deity that could control everything with a might that made him inviolable. With thousands and thousands of crossbow bolts floating in the air without moving, the sight was extremely strange. Shocked, all of the soldiers who had been fighting intensely earlier couldn't help but lift their heads with stunned expressions. A long story in words, but this series of actions had only taken a single thought worth of time. By now, Hu Ba's heaven-tier battle skill had already finished charging. Grasping his saber with both hands, he charged toward Jian Chen with a fierce glow of golden light before doing what seemed to be an ordinary slash. While this blade seemed rather ordinary, like an ordinary farmer brandishing a wood chopper, one of the mysteries of the world was contained within the strike. Jian Chen couldn't help but feel an intense desire to evade the blow, but because of the potential of the blade to strike at any place, Jian Chen had nowhere to run. The only path available to him now was to defend. Jian Chen's hands slowly moved into action, causing tens of thousands of crossbow bolts to fly around him. Under Jian Chen's powerful control of thought, they instantly formed a single 30-meter-long steel sword that radiated azure and violet sword chi before flying toward his enemy. Even after shooting the giant sword, Jian Chen didn't stop there. Clutching at the air, two more blades of fire materialized. Jetting off after the steel sword with a trailing path of fire, the fire began to disperse around the area and increased the overall temperature. Although this method wouldn't fully prevent the heaven-tier battle skill, it could at the very least diminish its power and take some of the load from Jian Chen's shoulder. Jian Chen's strike soon clashed with Hu Ba's saber. No one thought that in the midst of the explosion, the steel crossbow bolt-made sword wouldn't be able to go against Hu Ba's strike and was split in two as a result. The fire swords that came after it were dispersed as well before fading into the world without a trace. After overwhelming Jian Chen's strike, Hu Ba's heaven-tier battle skill had diminished in strength. Although it was no longer at its max potential, the power was still terrifying. Jian Chen's right hand flowed with the origin energy before forming a 3-meter-long beam. Flying up, he lashed out against the heaven-tier battle skill. Boom! Upon contact, another explosion could be heard as the air seemed to tremble and quake unceasingly. Jian Chen and Hu Ba's figures had long since been covered by the explosion of energy. Jian Chen and Hu Ba didn't affect the battle of the other individuals. Soon afterward, the sounds of explosions could be heard one after another not too far away. The explosions of energy were released in a terrifying wave that instantly blew away all the nearby clouds. Several of the imperial advisors of the Qinhuang kingdom began to use their heaven-tier battle skill, heavily injuring their enemies and causing several to fall to the earth. 2 of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom experts had even been killed by one of the heaven-tier battle skills. With about 20 Heaven Saint Masters fighting about 1,000 meters high in the sky above the soldiers, the waves of energy from their battle were enough to cause the soldiers below to be subject to heavy losses. Soon, the energy waves began to dissipate, allowing Jian Chen and Hu Ba's figure to slowly come back into everyone's view. The 2 men were floating 50 meters away from each other with pale faces and ragged clothes. Neither of the 2 had the elegant poise from earlier with their clothes showing tears in it. There was a single bloody cut on Jian Chen's chest that went down to his abdomen and soaked his robes in blood in a clear sign of injury. However, the origin energy of the azure and violet sword qi was still glowing strong and pure as before. Hu Ba was a 5th cycle Heaven Saint Master who could use a heaven-tier battle skill. So avoiding an injury wasn't within Jian Chen's ability, but it was a light wound, nothing serious. Up against Jian Chen, Hu Ba's saber in his right hand began to grow dim as it gradually lost its original luster. On the blade, 2 jagged chips could be seen quite clearly. PCH. Suddenly, Hu Ba let out a mouthful of blood while his face grew pale from the sudden loss. Originally when he fought against Jian Chen, he hadn't been injured, but when his saint weapon and the origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits clashed, his saint weapon had been like a piece of tofu. His saint weapon had easily been damaged by the origin energy, which caused damage to his internal organs. Hu Ba's face looked grim as he stared at the jagged chip on his saber. With startled eyes, he slowly looked to the origin energy in Jian Chen's hand. Would you tell me just what sort of energy that is for it to be so strong? After truly experiencing the strength of the origin energy for himself, Hu Ba was now afraid of it. This energy was truly the bane of all strong individuals. No comment. Jian Chen replied. Snorting, Hu Ba spoke, if not for that energy, you wouldn't even be an opponent for me. Jian Chen gave a taunting look to Hu Ba, if I was your age, even without this energy, you wouldn't be an opponent for me either. Hearing Jian Chen's words, Hu Ba was stunned for a moment before cursing himself on the inside. Unexpectedly, he had made the crass mistake of engaging in a battle of words with someone from the younger generation. Assistant Sect Leader Hu Ba, your strength may be above mine, but you are not an opponent for me. You cannot stop my mission to destroy the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Jian Chen spoke impassively. Hu Ba answered coldly, Changyang Xiangtian, while it is true we cannot stop it, our sect of Dragon and Tiger will remember this. Although we are not as strong as the Qinhuang Kingdom, we are not that easy to bully either. The future is long, we shall wait and see. With those words thrown down, Hu Ba gave a command to everyone before turning around to fly away. Seeing their assistant sect leader retreat, the others from the sect gave up their fight and turned to retreat as well. In an instant, they disappeared beyond the horizon without a care for the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom experts that they left behind. When they had left, the 13 individuals of the Qinhuang Kingdom didn't stop them. The sect of Dragon and Tiger was a top-tier family with a strength that was undeniably strong. They had no desire to create a deadlock with the sect of Dragon and Tiger and create an enemy for the Qinhuang kingdom. With the sect of Dragon and Tiger retreating, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was reduced to a balloon without air. In a single moment, they had lost their fighting spirit. The Qinhuang Kingdom was stronger than them, so much so that they could fight them 2-1 with ease. Even with less people, they were easily capable of fighting them on equal grounds. With the incoming pressure on them now, not only would they lose if they continued to fight, but they wouldn't even have the ability to flee. Stop, no more. We surrender. The fourth cycle Heaven Saint Master with red hair was the first to surrender. He was the patriarch of a sect within the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Although he had a nice relationship with the kingdom, it was not so much that he would throw his life away for it. Knowing that the chance to win had been lost, he had given up first. Chapter 496, Destruction of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. 2. The sect of Dragon and Tiger was the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom's final line of defense. With their retreat, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom no longer had the ability to defend themselves against the Qinhuang Kingdom. The other Heaven Saint Masters from the kingdom had no desire to fight and throw away their lives. They had been pulled into this by the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom while not having any personal grievances with the Jessan Kingdom. They had done nothing wrong, so they surrendered without a second thought. The sect of Dragon and Tiger were the pillars of the Heaven Saint Masters of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, but the Heaven Saint Masters were the pillars of support for the ordinary soldiers fighting down below. So when the Heaven Saint Masters were all captured, the soldiers lost their fighting spirit and began to surrender. Finding a thick iron chain, Jian Chen had Xiaofan and the others bind up the Heaven Saint Masters. Although it wouldn't actually serve to do so, in the eyes of the regular soldiers down below, the reality was quite different. At this treatment from the Qinhuang Kingdom, the individuals from the Heaven Saint Masters were silently fuming in anger, but they could only swallow their anger and bear the shame. Although this was a loss of face right in front of all these soldiers, if it meant that their lives were saved, what point did face serve? Besides, being captured by the hands of the Qinhuang Kingdom's imperial advisors wasn't too grievous. Xiaofan, you 10 will stay here and look over them. If anyone tries to rebel or has any other ideas, then kill them. Jian Chen commanded to the 10 imperial advisors. Yes, Imperial Protector. Xiaofan replied before bringing the captured Heaven Saint Masters down to the walls of the city. Jian Chen looked to Qin Wuming and the other two, Qin Wuming, Qin Wujian, have 100,000 of the Eastern deity swords follow me to surround the Imperial Palace. Unknowingly, Jian Chen's voice had a dignified tone to it. Perhaps because he had been commanding people for some time now, Jian Chen was now nurturing this type of power within himself. Yes. Qin Wuming immediately began to rally some soldiers. Jian Chen slowly descended to the ground before landing right beside the king of the Jessan Kingdom and the others. Xianger, how is the situation up front? How did the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom suddenly bring out so many experts? Changyang Ba was the first to blurt out. He was extremely worried about the battle ahead, but because he was a far distance away, he wasn't able to see the situation too clearly. Father, all is right. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom found help with several other Heaven Saint Masters, but they have retreated. Right now, all of the experts of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom have surrendered and are now our captives. The city has been captured, all that needs to be done is to arrest the king in his palace. Jian Chen spoke calmly. To him, this was almost like an everyday occurrence, so it didn't bear heavily on his mood. My dear nephew, allow us to go with you to the Imperial Palace. This king wishes to see the king of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom in his beaten state. The king of Jessan Kingdom laughed. There was longing in his voice, and right now, the signs of being a king couldn't be detected anywhere in him. I wish to go as well. Princess Yu was eager as well. Perhaps it was because she was too excited, but her beautiful face had turned quite pink. Yet, this shade of pink only served to add to her charm. Jian Chen smiled. Right now all the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom's experts have been captured. All that remains within the palace should be Earth Saint Masters and the sort, meaning there should be no threat at all. We'll all go at once then. The Jessan Kingdom's 500,000 soldiers did not enter the city and instead set up camp outside. Jian Chen brought the king, Changyang Ba, and the others on magical beasts into the city on the blood-stained roads. Sometimes blood would be splashed up into the air. The smell was so eye-watering that the princess had to use her hand to cover her nose and hold her eyes shut so that she wouldn't look at the ground. The interior of the city was like the pure land within the secular world. Although some smoke could be seen wafting around, it was not as bloody as the outside of the city. Everything seemed to be at peace here. Traveling through the interior of the city for a while, Jian Chen finally saw Qin Wuming and the other two riding on their bloody mounts along with their division of soldiers. To the imperial palace. Jian Chen shouted, riding his magical beast mount to the very front toward the imperial palace. On both sides of the streets, the commoners and the mercenaries stood by and watched the charge. Their fingers pointed at the army of the Qinhuang kingdom with an endless amount of discussion, but everyone's faces had a look of worry and terror, afraid of what the war meant for them. With the speed the army was traveling at, it took them less than a candle worth of time to arrive at the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom's imperial palace doors. However, compared to the past, the imperial palace had lost all of its might. Despite the guards all being there, they all carried a bleak and desolate expression, almost like it was the dusk of Judgment Day for them. Walking to the very end, none of the soldiers had the same dazzling light of magnificence to them. When the squadron of soldiers on top of the walls of the palace saw Jian Chen's group, their faces instantly blanched before getting off the walls and out of sight in a panicked run. Surround the palace, don't let anyone out. If anyone doesn't comply, kill them without pardon. Jian Chen commanded out loud so that everyone from the Eastern deity swords could hear. Yes. The 10,000 soldiers all roared to the heavens before moving to surround the palace in a flash. Jian Chen and the others rode into the palace at a leisurely rate on their magical beast mounts. Right behind them was a group of 100 elite soldiers, each one was an Earth Saint Master. At this moment within the interior of the palace, the king sat by himself with a decadent look on his dragon throne. His eyes were vacant as he stared around the palace without any spirit to them. He had already received a report about the result of the war. Originally, he had thought he could depend on the power of the sect of Dragon and Tiger to escape without mishap. With the sect of Dragon and Tiger being one of the strongest sects on the Tianyuan continent with a power that wasn't too beneath the Qinhuang kingdom, he thought that even the Qinhuang kingdom would fear confrontation with them. He didn't think that the Jessan and Qinhuang kingdom would be so intent on destroying his Heavenly Eagle kingdom. Not only did they not hesitate to back away from the sect of Dragon and Tiger, they had even swore an oath to trample over the Heavenly Eagle kingdom. Looking around the empty palace halls, the king had a sorrowful feeling in his heart. He knew that after this event, the Heavenly Eagle kingdom would be forever committed to being history and never to return. AI, how unexpected. Truly unexpected. For a simple mistake in the past, the sweat and blood generations and generations have put into founding this country was ruined. The king sighed helplessly. At this moment, the palace eunuch came running into the halls in a hurry. Frantically, he spoke, "Your Majesty, the eldest prince, second prince, and third princess has successfully entered the secret passageway and escaped. There's not much time left, Your Majesty has to leave here now, or there won't be any time left." The king of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom shook his head without saying a word. The palace eunuch wasn't able to understand what the meaning was. "Your Majesty, there really is no time to spare. The army of the Qinhuang Kingdom has already entered the palace and will be here in a moment. Your Majesty, if we don't go now, it'll be too late. We must leave now. While the green hills last, there'll be wood to burn. As long as our lives are saved, then there will be a chance to make a comeback." The eunuch spoke in a panic. "No, I won't run." The king finally spoke. Pushing away the eunuch, he stood up from his throne and looked at the still empty palace halls. With a gloomy spirit, he muttered, "If you wish to go, then go. This king won't go. This king will stay. This king will not go, this king won't leave this place. This king wants to stay. Your Majesty, don't speak so foolishly. There's no time, we must leave straight away. There is no time if we go later." The eunuch was panicked now and began to pull at the king's arm. "Get out!" The king exploded before swinging his arm to throw the eunuch away. "This king will not go. This king will be with the heavenly eagle kingdom. When the kingdom lives, the people live, when the kingdom dies, the people die." The king began to grow more and more emotional. These words had been shouted out loud. Chapter 497, Destruction of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. 3. Your Majesty, while the green hills last, there'll be wood to burn. The highest priority is that your life is preserved. If the Jessan Kingdom captures you, there will be no way that they will let you live. The eunuch pleaded with a panicked expression as he listened to the sounds of hooves getting closer and closer. "If you want to go, then go. This king won't go. This king will die with the heavenly eagle kingdom." The king spoke resolutely without fear, not caring if he lived or died. Even if he died, at the very least, he wouldn't be the king of a destroyed kingdom. "Ha ha ha, Your Royal Highness, this is quite unexpected. You truly are a man of steel and grit that anyone would admire." Suddenly, the loud sound of laughter could be heard as a large group of people came walking in with a 20-year-old youth leading them all. Seeing this large group enter the palace, the eunuch right next to the king instantly grew pale before muttering in dejection, "It's over, it's all over. There is no escape now." The eunuch's face was filled with despair, and although he was loyal to his king, he was afraid of death. The king of the heavenly eagle kingdom slowly sat back down on his dragon throne. Both arms rested on the golden armrests of his throne. His expression was grim, his eyes fierce, and his demeanor quite regal. Although soon he would be a king that died with his kingdom, in this current moment, he had regained his prestige and did not fear death. The king of the heavenly eagle kingdom stared down the incoming group. Jian Chen was slowly leading forward. "I did not think that our move against the Jessan kingdom would somehow lead the Qinhuang kingdom to carry us into eternal damnation. If not for that previous affair, perhaps our heavenly eagle kingdom wouldn't have been reduced to such a state." Jian Chen smirked, "You speak correctly. If not for the previous matter, then your heavenly eagle kingdom wouldn't be in the state it is today. However, there is no medicine for regret in this world. The time for regret is long over for you. This is the final conclusion. Regret won't do anything to change it. Indeed. There is no medicine for regret, but even regretting now is useless." The king sighed before reclining back on his throne. "There is a question this king still doesn't understand. Would you mind enlightening this king of it?" "Speak then, seeing you decline to such a state, I could answer a few of your questions." Jian Chen replied. "Back when this king sent several experts to the Jessan kingdom and caused a disturbance, the Jessan kingdom did not take on any heavy losses. On the contrary, it was our experts that ate up the losses. All in all, the ones who ended up on the losing end was our heavenly eagle kingdom. For such a trifling matter like this, is your Jessan kingdom truly willing to waste the tremendous strength of the Qinhuang kingdom to destroy our heavenly eagle kingdom?" The king of the heavenly eagle kingdom was truly very curious about this matter. "Trifling matter? Humph, your 10 heaven saint masters caused my Changyang clan to take on severe damages when they fought overhead. The entire compound had been reduced to rubble, and plenty of people from my clan had been badly injured. If not for the 5 imperial advisors from the Qinhuang kingdom residing there at the time, my Changyang clan wouldn't have even survived the calamity that befell them. Even the king of our Jessan kingdom was kidnapped by you, yet you still consider this a trifling matter? Jian Chen spoke seriously. The king of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom looked to Jian Chen. If my guess is correct, you must be the fourth master of the Changyang clan, Changyang Xiangtian. Correct, I am he. Jian Chen replied proudly. The king swept his eyes to the people behind Jian Chen. The sudden close friendship between the Jessan and Qinhuang kingdom had to be your doing, I presume. This king wishes to know, just, what relationship is there between you and the Qinhuang kingdom? The Qinhuang kingdom wouldn't so easily expend such a large amount of manpower across countless of kilometers to aid the Jessan kingdom. The amount of things you wish to know is quite a lot. Jian Chen laughed. If you really wish to know, I'll satisfy your curiosity then. Jian Chen suddenly stopped speaking for a moment before continuing. I presume you know that the Qinhuang kingdom dispatched several of their experts to help the Jessan kingdom push back the Four-Kingdom Alliance and that it was due to the desire of an imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom? Nodding, the king replied, correct, this king was told of such a thing. However, the information Prime Minister Che brought back overruled that. Then let me tell you quite clearly, that was a true matter. That imperial protector is me, Changyang Xiangtian. Jian Chen revealed calmly. Despite his tone of voice, the body of the king suddenly started to tremble. His face couldn't help but reveal disbelief, and he did not say anything for a very long time. The king of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom sat on his dragon throne with both arms trembling on their armrest. For a long time he was speechless, but then he sighed. How unexpected. I did not think that the person I had offended would actually be the imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom. It is no wonder the Qinhuang kingdom was that willing to gather up so many soldiers. Now knowing that Jian Chen was the Qinhuang kingdom's imperial protector, the king of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom felt no more confusion in his heart. Looking at the whole picture now, he fully understood Jian Chen's identity. Only a status as illustrious as the imperial protector would be able to cause the Qinhuang kingdom to send a large army, such great distance, to help the Jessan kingdom. If you wish to blame someone, blame yourself for disturbing my Changyang clan. For that reason, even the sect of Dragon and Tiger wouldn't change a thing despite their interference today. King of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Today, you now understand the full story. Jian Chen spoke with an awe-inspiring tone to his voice. AI. The king sighed. In this instant, he seemed to have aged several years and his spirit seemed to grow depressed. Powerlessly, the king of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom nodded his head. This king understands. Everything now makes sense. Making an enemy with the Jessan kingdom was truly a mistake. Now that this king is here, whether you wish to kill or torture me, do as you will. Jian Chen didn't waste any more words and waved his hand, capture him and bring him out. Immediately, 2 elite soldiers from the Eastern deity sword came forward to grab hold of the king's arms and led him out. After the king was led out, a single sword of fire materialized in Jian Chen's hand. With a bright gleaming arc of fire, the sword smashed apart the dragon throne in the palace. With the king of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom captured, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was already halfway destroyed. Qin Wuming, have the Eastern deity swords start a blanket sweep of the entire palace. Capture all members of the palace and don't let them escape. Do not cause unnecessary trouble with the maids and servants. Jian Chen commanded. Yes. Qin Wuming obeyed and walked away to make the orders. Jian Chen looked underneath the flooring with a smile of disdain. His right foot gently stepped on the ground, causing the entire palace to shudder, as if suffering from an earthquake, but the tremors soon disappeared. Several kilometers away, in a 10-meter-tall passageway, a large group of the royals of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom and their guards were frantically escaping down the path. There were about 1,000 people in total rushing through the quiet but cramped passageway. Occasionally, a sound could be heard from some of them. Some of these people were the concubines of the king and the members of the entire royal family. Hurry up, people in front, go faster. Otherwise, the invaders will catch up to us. Everyone move faster. If the invaders catch up to us, it'll all be over. Wait for everyone to be safe before we slow down. Run faster. Aya, you stepped on me, you stepped on me. A large group of people were huffing and puffing as they charged down the dark path in an attempt to escape. The passageway wasn't very smooth, so sometimes someone would step on an uneven part of the ground and tumble to the ground before being stepped on by the people behind them. Painful screams would escape from their mouths, especially from the daintier women. With everyone looking out for their own life, no one had the time or luxury to look after someone else. Just at that moment, a rumbling sound could be heard from above as the entire passageway began to shake. Afterward, a terrified shout could be heard from up front. No! The passageway has collapsed, the front path has been blocked. It's over, with the passageway caved in, we don't have any way to escape. What, the passageway caved in? How could that be? This entire path was reinforced, just how could it cave in so easily? Within the giant halls of the palace, Jianchen walked up to the loyal eunuch and spoke, "Who are you?" Seeing Jianchen turn his attention to himself, the eunuch let out a fearful sound before kneeling on the ground, trembling in fear. This slave is the king's eunuch of meals. I am in charge of the king's everyday meals. Tell me where the second prince has escaped off to. Jianchen spoke calmly and warmly, but there was an overwhelming amount of pressure delivered to the eunuch as well. This slave does not know. The eunuch was a man who feared death, so his entire body refused to stop shaking. Jianchen's eyes flashed dangerously. What a truly loyal person, but even if you don't tell me, it'll take an hour for me to find him. I'll give you one chance to live. If you don't choose your words carefully, do not blame me for being merciless. Changyang Xiantian, they most likely escaped in secret already. We just need to find traces of a secret passageway. Princess Yu suddenly spoke. Jianchen shook his head. I know what passageway they escaped into, but the second prince isn't in it. There isn't a trace of the second prince in the palace either. How do you know he isn't in the passageway? The princess asked with curiosity. She had been right by Jianchen's side ever since they entered the imperial palace. She had not seen anyone ever come report to Jianchen. So the fact that Jianchen knew that the second prince wasn't escaping in the secret passageways was a completely mystery to her. Jianchen smiled. I naturally have my own methods. Turning around, Jianchen looked once more to the eunuch in front of him. Now, will you tell me or not? Seeing the eunuch stay quiet, Jianchen revealed a cold smile. It doesn't matter if you speak. I'll find the second prince myself with some effort. Soldier, take him away to be executed. I'll speak. As soon as Jianchen finished speaking, the cowardly eunuch's final line of defense crumbled away. Chapter 498, Destruction of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. 4. You'd best not lie to me. Jianchen's eyes revealed an intimidating light as he glared at the eunuch. The eunuch's body trembled in his spot on the floor. His eyes revealed a terrified expression as he spoke. This slave wouldn't dare. This slave doesn't dare. Now then, where did the second prince run off to? Jianchen was convinced that the second prince had exaggerated the story to the king of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom to make it sound more serious. Since his Changyang clan had been a victim to calamity because of the second prince, Jianchen definitely wouldn't let him go. Jianchen already had a few problems with the second prince at the Jessen Kingdom's palace. The second prince, he left the palace 2 days ago. This servant heard from the king that the second prince may have been sent to the Sunset Kingdom. The eunuch trembled with fear as he replied to Jianchen. What? The second prince has already left the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom? Jian Chen's eyebrows narrowed together. If the second prince had truly left the kingdom 2 days ago, then finding him would become more difficult than he initially thought. Yes. This servant heard this from the king's mouth. It shouldn't be wrong. The eunuch explained. With his eyebrows still furrowed together in thought, Jian Chen had 2 soldiers from the eastern deity swords take the eunuch away. The second prince is quite quick-witted. I didn't think he would run away. Jian Chen, what will you do now? Ming Dong asked. For him, there was only hatred in his heart for the second prince. I won't let him get away, but there's no need to rush. Wait until we ascertain the second prince's whereabouts. We will think of the proper countermeasure then. Right now, we should stay here for a while. Those who were trying to escape in the secret passageway will be soon brought here. Jian Chen answered. Right now, the entire palace of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was in turmoil. The king had already been captured and the palace was seized, but there were still countless imperial guards in there. Although a good portion of the imperial guards had already surrendered, there were still a few loyal imperial guards that fought to their deaths in an attempt to resist. Battling against the eastern deity swords, the battles could be heard throughout the palace. How could these imperial guards be a match for the elite squadron of the Qinhuang kingdom? Although the imperial guards were all at the Earth Saint Master level, the eastern deity swords were all comprised of the same level as they, and there were even more of them than the imperial guards. Despite the fierce resistance the imperial guards put up, they were still powerless, and were beaten into submission by the eastern deity swords. The imperial guards didn't last for more than an hour before they were all defeated. Any of the last remaining resistance was soon weeded out, with the eastern deity swords only sustaining minor injuries. After all of the resistance had been rooted out, the eastern deity swords began to do a sweep across the palace. However, just like Jian Chen had commanded, they had captured most of the royal members of the kingdom and did not make things difficult for the maids and servants. In this blanket sweep, the entire palace had its hidden cellars revealed and searched, revealing a good amount of nobles squirreled away. There was even a secret passageway where a group of eastern deity swords were sent in to investigate. With all of them being Earth Saint Masters, they cautiously began to walk deep into the passageway. In no time at all, they arrived at the end of the passageway, where they managed to capture over 1,000 people who were stuck due to the passageway caving in front of them. Gathered in front of the palace, the prisoners were now awaiting the verdict of the imperial protector. Within the center of the palace of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom were about 2,000 members of the royal family kneeling down in the open space. There were males and females, young and old, but they were all terrified to the point where their bodies trembled with fear. Everyone was afraid for their own lives and feared that they would die here. Such a fear like that caused many to start to cry. That was because every noble and official of a dead kingdom would always be killed by the enemy without mercy on the Tianyuan continent. Even the imperial concubines and children were no exceptions. Only a small minority were allowed to live. That was the method of eliminating the roots to destroy the weed. Surrounding the royal family of the kingdom, several hundred white-armored soldiers stood like stone statues. Forming a circular ring, they imprisoned the 2,000 royal members within. Jian Chen looked expressionlessly at the dense crowd of people who were kneeling on the ground. Now, I will ask everyone a series of questions. The first one to answer, I will spare and let go. Hearing this, everyone's eyes began to light up with hope. Their originally deathly still hearts began to rekindle with the flames of desire to live. Although Jian Chen looked extremely young and they had no idea who he was, they weren't idiots. Their eyes were bright and sharp. When they saw the 3 generals standing behind Jian Chen, they knew the youth was their leader. His words were definitely worth their weight in gold. In front of so many people, just who would play a joke on a group of prisoners? How many princes does the king of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom have? Jian Chen gave out his first question. 3. 3. There's 3. As soon as Jian Chen asked his question, plenty of people frantically began to answer in a cacophony of sound. The answers were unanimous. With the heavenly eagle kingdom at its end, they would rather save their own lives and throw away their loyalty to the kingdom to the farthest reaches of the earth. Seeing the result exceed his expectations by a tremendous amount, Jianchen couldn't help but crack a satisfied smile. Very good. Everyone is very cooperative. If things continue on like this, then I will be very happy and will allow everyone to go free. My lord, is that true? If we answer everything, will you really let all of us go? Someone from the crowd asked, trying to hide the hope in his voice. Jianchen displayed a warm expression on his face. However, in the eyes of the nobles of the heavenly eagle kingdom, his smile was the smile of a demon. Jianchen pointed to the group of people behind him. Everyone can see this, right? If these people are not the nobles of the Jessan kingdom, they are the generals of the Qinhuang kingdom. In front of so many people, how would I make a promise that I would not comply with? Jianchen's words were like a tranquilizer for their fears. The authority of the nobles of the Jessan kingdom wasn't something they could have faith in so easily, but the generals of the Qinhuang kingdom were different. Each of them were even higher in military strength than the king of the Jessan kingdom. Even their authority was on a higher level than the king. Right now, with even the generals of the Qinhuang kingdom standing behind the youth, it was very obvious that this youth's status in the Qinhuang kingdom was even higher than theirs. Continuing to speak, Jianchen said, naturally, there will be a small group of people that will have to remain behind. The meaning of Jianchen's instantly made each of the 2,000 captives think to the immediate family of the king of the heavenly eagle kingdom. By chance, are any of the princes still here? Jianchen asked. Yes. There is. He's the eldest prince. This is the third prince. As soon as Jianchen finished asking, many people began to point out the third and eldest prince, causing the faces of the two princes to drain into a pale color. Bring them forth. Jianchen commanded. Straight away, several silver-armored soldiers wrestled the two figures the group had pointed out and brought them to Jianchen. Jianchen's eyes measured up the two princes in front of him. In an attempt to hide their identities, they had worn the clothes of a person of lower rank with countless of smudges on them. Their hair was disheveled, making them seem more like the beggars on the streets rather than princes. Between the two, one youth looked to be nearing his 30s while the other was about 20 years old, an age that wasn't too far away from Jianchen. Trembling in fright before Jianchen, neither of the two princes dared stare at Jianchen. Are you or are you not the third and eldest prince? Jianchen asked. Yes. Both princes were men who were afraid of death and greedy for life instead of men who were proud and unyielding. Up against Jianchen, they could only answer as they quaked in fear. Tell me, where is the second prince? Jianchen demanded. He went to the Sunset Kingdom. The eldest prince didn't hesitate to reveal the whereabouts of the second prince. Although he and the second prince were bound together by blood, they were not on the best of terms. There had been many secret clashes between them, so the eldest prince was eager to see the second prince die. Jianchen narrowed his eyes. What is the second prince doing in the Sunset Kingdom? I don't know. Something like this. I'm afraid only my father would know the answer. If you wish to know, then, you must ask him. The eldest prince swallowed as he pushed the burden onto the king. Contemplating for a moment, Jianchen spoke, take these two princes and investigate them thoroughly. As for this group, look through their space belts and space rings before letting them go. As the two princes were taken away, the 2,000 remaining members were thoroughly searched. As a kingdom that was far wealthier than the Jessan kingdom, the nobles of the heavenly eagle kingdom had to have a terrifying sum of wealth if combined together. Jianchen hadn't bothered to kill them and instead gave the 2,000 people a way of escape. Having only confiscated a good portion of their wealth and letting them have more than enough to survive, Jianchen held up his promise to let them all live and leave. Now that the matter with the 2,000 people was over, Jian Chen turned to the three generals. Qin Wutian, have a group of people chase after the second prince in the Sunset Kingdom, you must capture him. The second prince could be said to be the cause for this entire matter, so there was no way Jian Chen would let him go so easily. Yes. I will have some men go after him straight away. Qin Wutian answered before leaving to dispatch a division of 100 elite soldiers toward the Sunset Kingdom. At that moment, a single silver-armored soldier came before Jian Chen and knelt down. A report for the honored Imperial Protector, we have discovered the treasury of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Jian Chen's eyes lit up before waving his hand, lead the way. Chapter 499, Seeing the White Stone Again, 1, along with the remaining generals, Jian Chen and the soldiers swiftly walked through the palace into the deepest parts of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. The treasury of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was located within the depths of the palace. Measured at a height of 3 stories, the treasury was built from a metal that was refined 100 times over so that it was incredibly durable. The gates to the treasury had clear indicators of having gone through a battle. There were corpses strewn about everywhere and the entire area was filled with blood. If this was in any ordinary time, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom would have a Heaven Saint Master and 500 of their elite soldiers protecting the treasury. But with the entire palace already seized by the Eastern deity swords and all of the Heaven Saint Masters essentially either dead or captured, there were no experts left. The elite soldiers of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom were killed, and now the Eastern deity swords took their place protecting it. We pay our respects to the Imperial Protector. At Jian Chen's approach, the soldiers guarding the treasury immediately knelt down to the ground and cried out a greeting. No need to be so polite, you all may rise. Jian Chen spoke calmly while looking ahead. Although the treasury was a large building, the doors to it were quite small. 2 men standing shoulder to shoulder would find it quite difficult to enter, and at this moment, the gates were shut tight, having not yet been forced open. Honored Imperial Protector, we went to notify you straight away after we discovered the treasury. However, even after having all our soldiers search the area, we couldn't find the key. An Earth Saint Master reported quietly. You've done well. Jian Chen nodded his head in approval. Walking up to the gates, Jian Chen's palm struck the meter-thick metallic walls. The metal was cold to the touch and vibrated with a heavy resonance. I did not think that this door would be constructed from tungsten alloys. If thick enough, it is able to withstand even the strike of a Heaven Saint Master with no problem. Jian Chen spoke with some surprise. Tungsten alloy was a very bizarre metal and was considered to be one of the sturdiest materials on the continent. It possessed a strange ability to be able to distribute the force applied to it into something manageable. If one wished to shatter tungsten alloys, then one would need to apply a force capable of shattering it in one strike. Tungsten alloys could not be destroyed piece by piece, so the defensive ability of the alloy was highly sought. If one wanted to break open the tungsten alloy, one needed a tremendous amount of strength. If the thickness of the tungsten alloy reached 50 kilograms, it would be able to withstand the strike of a first-cycle Heaven Saint Master. With 250 kilograms, it would be able to withstand a third-cycle Heaven Saint Master. If it was over 500 kilograms, even a sixth-cycle Heaven Saint Master would find it difficult to destroy. The durability and the scarcity of the tungsten alloy made it an extremely precious and expensive item. Worth almost its weight in currency, if there was a deposit of 50 kilograms worth of tungsten alloy, it would be worth 500 kilograms of purple coins. Despite the price being 10 times the weight, not every city used this as a standard. It appears that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is quite prosperous if they are able to build the doors to their treasury out of tungsten alloy. This large chunk should be around 250 kilograms at the very least. If I want to break it, I would need to exert myself by a decent amount. Qin Wuming muttered. With that, Qin Wuming walked up to the tungsten alloy door. Imperial Protector, please allow me to try and destroy this gate. Jian Chen nodded his head before taking a few steps back to allow Qin Wuming. Not only was Qin Wuming the vice-general of the Eastern Deity Swords, he was also a Heaven Saint Master who reached the third cycle and possessed several battle skills. As long as the tungsten alloy door was less than 250 kilograms in weight, he would be able to break it. Qin Wuming made every nearby soldier move farther away before bringing the large amount of Saint Force in his hand up, to strike at the small door. Bang! A loud explosion rocked the entire palace as Qin Wuming's hand pressed against the tungsten alloy door. The entire treasury seemed to have begun to shake, and if not for the fact that the entire building was made of reinforced steel, the treasury would have came crashing down. Taking his palm off, Qin Wuming and the others could see that the tungsten alloy door was still standing nice and tall in front of them. It hadn't been broken, and Qin Wuming's palm didn't even leave a trace of it on the alloy. Seeing that his own palm was useless, Qin Wuming let out an icy grunt before taking out his saint weapon that blazed with a blue-colored saint force. With all his strength, Qin Wuming struck at the door. Using his saint weapon, Qin Wuming's strike was roughly 2 to 3 times stronger than his palm strike. With his current strike, even a large mountain could be cleaved in half by him. Bang! A fierce explosion could be heard as the whiplash of energy flooded the entire area before dissipating. The ground near the treasury started to fracture and split into crevices. Some of the soldiers of the Eastern Deity Swords were even forced back several steps. However, even after the tremor subsided and Qin Wuming had finished his strike with his saint weapon, the door had not been broken. "Father, the door must be beyond 250 kilograms in weight. It could possibly be beyond 500 kilograms. We should go call for some of the others to help us break down this door," Qin Wujian mentioned. Qin Wuming put away his saint weapon in resignation. Sighing, he spoke, "I didn't think that this tiny heavenly eagle kingdom would have amassed such a large amount of tungsten alloy. Ah, it is truly surprising. If we really wish to break open this door, we'll need several more people to break it." "No need for that, allow me to try." Jian Chen came up from behind. "I doubt such a small metal door would be able to block my path." Seeing how Qin Wuming was unable to break past the door, Jian Chen decided to not hold back. Bringing forth the origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits, Jian Chen's right hand began to glow with the same azure and violet colors. Qin Wuming retreated without a sound. He knew that Jian Chen's talent was nearly terrifying, but he hadn't ever been able to understand it. This time, he would take this chance to observe it for himself. Jian Chen stood right in front of the tungsten alloy door. Without any superfluous movements, he stabbed directly onto the door with the origin energy of the sword spirits in his right hand. Tzk. A metallic ring could be heard. Despite the tungsten alloy door being incredibly durable, the origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits was able to stab deeply into the door almost as if it was made of tofu. An azure and violet color, how curious, what type of powerful energy is that? Qin Wuming spoke in amazement at the origin energy in Jian Chen's right hand. Qin Wujian, Kafir, and Yiming all stared hard at the origin energy in Jian Chen's right hand as well. Each one continued to guess in curiosity at what the energy was. All three of them were extremely curious. Chapter 500, Seeing the White Stone Again, 2. While tungsten alloy was an extremely durable alloy, the origin energy of the sword spirits was something even the saint weapons of a heaven saint master couldn't defend against. So the origin energy easily stabbed deep into the tungsten alloy. Despite this, Jian Chen could still feel a strong resistance coming from the alloy as it tried to resist the push of the origin energy. What could be made certain was the fact that if Jian Chen were to not use the origin energy, he would have no chance of breaking open the door. Tungsten alloys were incredibly rare on the Tianyuan continent with an almost excessively high price tag. Thus, Jian Chen was nearly unwilling to destroy the tungsten alloy. He instead used his origin energy to cut apart the door frame so the door itself would remain unharmed, yet they would still be able to enter the treasury. Bang! A suppressed explosion could be heard as the door came crashing down to the ground. At that moment, everyone could only stare in shock as they realized that the thickness of the door was about 2/3 of a meter. Heavens, if the tungsten alloy door was this thick, it had to be at least 1,500 kilograms heavy. Kafir was stunned. Such a weight like this was equivalent to roughly 150,000 purple coins. A single door like this was somehow worth 150,000 purple coins. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is truly quite prosperous. Qin Wuming sighed in envy. Jian Chen peeled his origin energy weapon away from the steel-reinforced door frame, leaving behind just the tungsten alloy block. This chunk seemed less like a door and more of a rectangular pillar about 2 meters long, 1 meter wide, and 2/3 of a meter thick. I did not think that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom would send me such a considerable gift after I entered their treasury. Jian Chen chuckled as he looked at the door. Slowly grabbing it, his arms began to bulge from the effort as he brought the tungsten alloy door into the air. With roughly 1,500 kilograms worth of weight, Jian Chen's legs began to sink into the ground a little. What amazing strength! Watching Jian Chen lift the incredibly strong tungsten door, everyone let out a startled cry. Jian Chen's strength was just far too much to believe. Although Jian Chen didn't look sturdy and instead looked frail and weak, the chaotic force had tempered his body so that it had been strengthened many times over. His muscles had grown larger, and he could fight a great Saint Master on equal grounds with just pure strength alone. With his muscles growing stronger, Jian Chen's strength had increased as well. Lifting something of this weight was not an impossible task for him. Jian Chen placed the door back on the ground, causing the entire ground to shake along with the explosive sound of a door smashing into the ground to appear. We all underestimated the prosperity of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. None of us expected them to have such a heavy amount of tungsten alloy. This chunk isn't 1,500 kilograms. I estimate it to be around 2,500 kilograms around actually. Jian Chen had a happy smile on his face. Jian Chen was extremely happy because of this priceless amount of tungsten alloy. Hearing that the expected weight was around 2,500 kilograms, everyone let out a shocked cry. Now that the door to the treasury was open, Jian Chen and the rest could walk into the treasury. There was a total of 3 stories to the treasury of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. The first layer was extremely big with space belts nicely ordered about the entire area with symbols up above them to signify what was inside each space belt. The entire first floor seemed to have, for the most part, army provisions and high-grade armor. The king of the Jessan Kingdom approached one of the nearest space belts and retrieved a single black set of armor from it. With sparkling eyes, he cried out, "This armor is made from tungsten alloy. Just how does the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom have such a large amount of tungsten alloy?" Hearing this, Jian Chen walked up to a nearby space belt and took out a suit of armor as well. This suit of armor was surprisingly constructed from tungsten alloy as well. A suit of armor made from tungsten alloy was generally very thin, but it weighed about 5 kilograms and boasted of a defensive strength that was far stronger than a suit of armor crafted from reinforced steel. If a soldier were to wear this suit of armor, it would greatly improve their fighting ability and survivability. Because of the light weight of the tungsten alloy armor, the amount of weight generally pressed up against a soldier was greatly reduced. The king slapped the tungsten alloy armor and sighed, "This armor is quite excellent. Not only is it light, but its defensive might is 10 times stronger than the black armor my black armors wear." Jian Chen let loose a small smile as he listened. "Your Majesty, we might as well give these suit of armor to the black armors to wear. They are the elite squadron of our Jessan Kingdom, so we must do our best to raise their fighting ability to their best." The king couldn't hide the overjoyed look on his face, but when he saw Qin Wuming standing right next to him, he became quite embarrassed. That'd be too much. The invasion of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was all due to the contributions of the Qinhuang Kingdom. These suit of armors should go to them instead. Qin Wuming laughed. Although tungsten alloy is quite pricey, it isn't considered much by our Qinhuang Kingdom. The 5 elite divisions of our Qinhuang Kingdom don't use tungsten alloy, but the difference isn't too great. Furthermore, we would need 10 million of these suits in order to give to everyone. Aside from that, our Qinhuang Kingdom has armor that is a level higher than tungsten alloy, so we have little use for them. If that's how it is, then I will accept these tungsten alloy armors for my black armors. The king of the Jessan Kingdom didn't argue any longer and took the armor happily. Afterward, Jian Chen had several of the soldiers from the Eastern Deity Swords help collect most of the space belts. In total, there were 300 suits of armor made from tungsten alloy. With each of them weighing about 5 kilograms, this amounted to roughly 1,500 kilograms worth of tungsten alloy. In this trip to the treasury, the amount of tungsten alloy they had received was quite vast. Aside from the suits of armor made from tungsten alloy, there was nothing else on the first floor that caught Jian Chen's eyes. Therefore, Jian Chen led the group to the second floor. The second story mostly consisted of monster cores and currency. They were sorted into several hundred space belts. Jian Chen didn't even bother with any of them. He had the Eastern Deity Swords collect them into their own space belts. Without stopping, he walked to the third floor. The third floor was quite different from the first 2 floors. All sorts of treasures were collected here. Oddities and items were stored all around, and while their purpose wasn't clear, what was clear was the fact that they had to be quite expensive. Suddenly, when Jian Chen stepped onto the third floor, Ziying and Qingxua both spoke into Jian Chen's mind. There is a howlight. Howlight. There's one here. Master, quickly take the howlight into your hand. Ziying and Qingxua were both extremely excited and seemed as if they were impatient for something. The sudden voice in his head caused Jian Chen to falter for a moment. The azure and violet sword spirits rarely spoke to Jian Chen, so he hadn't expected to hear them talk right now. Howlight? What is that? Jian Chen thought in confusion. Shortly afterward, a strange sensation could suddenly be felt in Jian Chen's head, causing him to turn toward one of the corners of the treasury. All that could be seen was a single white stone placed on top of a table. There was nothing significant looking to this white stone, making it seem quite ordinary. At first glance, anyone would think this to be no different than any other stone. If it were thrown into a heap of rubble, it wouldn't be noticed at all. Jian Chen's eyes flashed with recognition before quickly walking to the table. His eyes stared hard at the white stone, and memories of what had happened a few years ago in Wake City began to flash in his mind. At that time, he didn't know that the 2 glows of light in his dantian were the sword spirits, but he had realized the curiosity that was the white stone instead of dismissing it as an ordinary stone because of the strange sensation coming from them when he walked the streets of Wake City. It was because of this curiosity that he had purchased the white stone. Jian Chen never had a second thought for the white stone in his space ring because he simply had no idea just what use the white stone served. As time went on, if it were not for the fact that Jian Chen had come across a second stone and had the sword spirits not mentioned it, Jian Chen would have completely forgotten about the fact that he had bought one. The white stone had been placed on top of a steel table for Jian Chen to pick up with both hands. Straight away, Jian Chen felt the weight of the stone and was shocked. This single fist-sized white stone was approximately 500 kilograms in weight. If not for his strength, it would have been difficult for him to pick up from the table. Ziying, Qingxua. Just what is this white stone? If it excites you too, does that mean it a treasure of some sort? Jian Chen asked the 2 sword spirits. This question was on his mind ever since the very first time he had bought the white stone. At that time, neither sword spirit was capable of communicating with him, so he had never been able to learn of the oddity or history behind the white stone. Master, this howlite is an incredibly rare material used to refine one of the most indispensable materials used for high-leveled artifacts. As you say, it can be used to construct weapons. Ziying spoke with unbelievable joy. Oh, so it is a material used to create weapons? Jian Chen was disappointed for a moment. If that's it, it isn't too precious. With the people of the Tianyuan continent using saint weapons, there is practically no need for weapons to be made since any type of weapon, no matter what material it is made from, is weak in front of a heaven saint master. It wouldn't even manage to defend against a saint weapon. Master, you underestimate these artifacts. Artifacts are far stronger than you could possibly imagine. Wait until you enter that realm, you will come to understand the strength of a magical weapon. Ziying spoke. That's right, Master. Ziying isn't wrong. Artifacts are extremely amazing. They are far stronger than the saint weapons you use. This time, Qingsuo spoke with the same sing-song voice. Is it truly that amazing? Jian Chen had his curiosity piqued. Although he didn't know what an artifact was, he could guess they were another way of classifying a weapon. Chapter 501, Saint Tier Battle Skill. Master, artifacts are extremely powerful. This howlite is a precious material that can be used to make the azure and violet twin swords. When you manage to make both, you will come to understand the power of artifacts. Ziying spoke. At a thought, a happy feeling spread through Jian Chen's chest. If I can remake the azure and violet twin swords, that would be excellent and would make up for my lack of weapon. With that, Jian Chen stopped talking for a moment before immediately asking, Ziying, Qingsuo, just what needs to be done in order to reforge the azure and violet twin swords? Would this howlite be enough to make the weapons extremely strong? Naturally not. Howlite is only a material. In order to make an artifact strong, it requires even more materials and items that require careful selection. However, Master needn't worry about this problem. Qingsuo and Ziying will take care of it. Ziying spoke with pride. Then when will the azure and violet twin swords be finished? Jian Chen was somewhat impatient. To him, a sword was an extremely important thing. Ever since his own light wind sword had been destroyed, his heart's longing for a sword had never been quenched. Because of his strength as a heaven saint master, he was afraid that any weapon he used wouldn't be sufficient enough to handle his abuse. Thus, he had never looked for a replacement to use, but now that he knew of a weapon he could create even stronger than a saint weapon, the azure and violet twin swords, he could hardly contain his excitement. Ziying and Qingsuo could clearly feel the intense longing for a sword in Jian Chen's words, causing them to hesitate for a moment. Responding, Ziying spoke, Master, forging the azure and violet twin swords is not a very difficult process. It only requires a few individuals that can control fire to help. However, the difficulty lies with the materials themselves and gathering them. The howlite is just one of the materials, but that is far from enough. Then what materials are needed? I will have the Qinhuang kingdom help me straight away. Jian Chen's heart couldn't help but beat wildly. He had been brought into the strange land by Ziying and Qingsuo many times before, so his heart knew about the powerful weapon that were the sword spirits. Thus, he was very impatient about being able to use such a powerful weapon. Although Jian Chen had the strength of a heaven saint master, had the origin energy of the sword spirits, and was an uncontested existence among those in the heaven saint master realm, heaven saint masters did not stand at the pinnacle of the Tianyuan continent. Above them were the saint rulers and the many other paragon existences that lived as hermits. Despite not knowing just how terrifying of an existence the saint rulers were, Jian Chen could make a rough estimate. Elder Xiao back in Longevity Valley had shown him that saint rulers were merely the tip of the iceberg. Even with his usage of the origin energy, he hadn't been able to cause a speck of a threat to Elder Xiao. Jian Chen had already started trouble with the Shi family and the Jieda clan, both of whom had saint rulers behind them. After destroying the treasured heirlooms that were the ruler armaments, Jian Chen was sure that the two families would never let him go. In the case the saint rulers were to make a move, Jian Chen would have no way to defend himself. Aside from the Shi family and Jie clan, there was still the Huang family and the most recent sect of Dragon and Tiger. Both parties were not easy to bully, and the Huang family knew that he was in possession of a saint ruler's skeleton. Although he had once helped out the Huang family, there was no guarantee that the Huang family would bite the hand that had once helped him in order to acquire the skeleton. After all, saint ruler skeletons were extremely valuable. As for the sect of Dragon and Tiger, they were now another headache to deal with because of the mess that had occurred from the matter with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. The sect of Dragon and Tiger also had hidden hermits that did not fear the Qinhuang Kingdom. Although Jian Chen's status as the imperial protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom gave him some protection, there might be some saint rulers that were willing to give face to the Qinhuang Kingdom, but there could possibly be some that didn't. People who would actively chase after Jian Chen. This was an extremely important matter, but Jian Chen didn't truly worry about them yet. Instead, what he was truly worried about was the white tiger cub. Because if he did not hand over the tiger cub, he would have to worry about the Gilligan clan in the Cross Mountains. Thus, while Jian Chen looked to be without troubles, the amount of pressure on him was tremendous. This led to him to not bother with the matters of having a wife or kids. His only concern was to increase his own strength. The problem was after the Heaven Saint Master realm, it was not easy to increase one's strength as before. If Jian Chen were to forego the origin energy of the Azure and Violet Sword spirits, he wouldn't be strong at all. Therefore, when Jian Chen heard that he could reforge the Azure and Violet twin swords, his heart began to beat rapidly. Ziying and Qingsua both looked quite troubled. Growing silent for a while, they finally spoke. "Master, the materials needed to reforge the Azure and Violet twin swords have no fixed pattern. Furthermore, these materials will most likely be under a completely different name here on the Tianyuan continent. If we were to look for them on name alone, we would never be able to find them. Each and every material has a different characteristic, but they would still be hard to find. For example, this howlite looks to be nothing different from a regular stone. It is incredibly heavy, but that is it. On the Tianyuan continent, there will most likely be many other types of stone that share a similarity to the howlite. These minute differences may vary, and practically no one will be able to differentiate between them all. So having other people help look for them would be of no use either." Ziying spoke helplessly. "Then does that mean that in order to find the materials needed to reforge the Azure and Violet twin swords, only you two will be able to?" Jian Chen asked. "Yes, Master. Aside from Qingsua and I estimate that no one else would be able to tell these are materials for forging a weapon," Ziying replied. Hearing this, Jian Chen began to grow disappointed. Originally he had thought he could immediately obtain an artifact sword and resolve his vexed state of having no weapon. However, he didn't think that there would be this problem, leaving him empty-hearted. Growing silent for a while longer, Jian Chen gradually began to regain his usual mood. Although he couldn't immediately reforge the Azure and Violet twin swords, he at least had a new hope for making a weapon. Furthermore, this new weapon would be the incredibly powerful Azure and Violet sword. After calming himself, Jian Chen continued to ask, "Ziying, Qingsua, just how many materials are needed to reforge the Azure and Violet twin swords?" "Master, our blades were created using the highest grade materials in the past. There were nearly 1,000 different things, each one of them being unmatched in their rarity and usage. But Master doesn't need that type of blade, and neither does Master require an usual type of flame to forge it. All Master needs is another type of blade that only requires 16 materials." Terminating his talk with the sword spirits, Jian Chen immediately snapped back to his senses. At the same time, he realized the group, who had been walking behind him, had suddenly appeared right next to him. "Jian Chen, just what about that stone is enough to make you get lost in thought?" What is that stone even? Could it be it has some sort of strange use? Ming Dong's voice could be heard asking Jian Chen. Hearing this, Jian Chen muttered, "This stone is a material used to forge weapons. I've been in need of something like this." Ming Dong's face grew extremely solemn when he heard Jian Chen speak. Jian Chen having his saint weapon destroyed was not an unknown fact to Ming Dong, since Jian Chen had explained his experience to him. Forge a weapon? Imperial Protector, what use do you have for that? Do you plan to use that material to forge yourself a weapon? Any regular weapon pales in comparison to a saint weapon in terms of durability and strength. In a battle between heaven saint masters, an ordinary weapon would be as good as a chicken rib, utterly unfavorable. Qin Wujian asked curiously. Jian Chen smiled, but he did not offer an explanation. Taking the howlite into his space ring, he spoke, "Everyone should take a stroll now. Since everything here belongs to us, take whatever you wish." Afterward, everyone separated everywhere, pleased to see if there would be anyone they would want. As for the gold or silver pearls or other precious commodities, none of them felt inclined to take them, since none of them were exactly lacking in money. The third level of the treasury was quite big. Jian Chen, by himself, strolled here and there to see if there would be anything else that would be of value to him. After they were done, the rest of the items would be given to the men below to manage or perhaps sell. In the case that he missed something particularly precious, it would be a great loss if it were to be accidentally sold. Just as Jian Chen walked past a dusty table, his body suddenly came to a stop as he noticed a stone slab on the table. The stone slab was a square in shape, about 1 meter long and 1 inch thick. It looked rather ordinary at first glance, but on the slab, there were several patterns etched in it. The patterns were illegible because of the layer of dust. Picking up the stone slab from the table, Jian Chen blew off the dust to reveal the patterns etched underneath. However, the pattern was incomplete on the slab. All that could be seen was a single palm holding a blade as it chopped down. The blade was not completely visible because of the small dimensions of the slab, so the blade point could not be seen. When Jian Chen's eyes registered the pattern, his heart immediately felt great shock run through it. An extremely mysterious feeling came bursting forth into his mind, forcing Jian Chen to stare at the picture closely. Although the pattern wasn't complete and only had a picture of a palm and a blade, Jian Chen felt the power of the world through this picture. In this downward chop, Jian Chen felt that it contained the world within it. This is, Jian Chen's eyes grew wide with utter shock and disbelief. This pattern was no stranger to him. Back in the Holy Lands of Mercenary City, he had come across a saint-tier battle skill a tier above a heaven-tier battle skill. This seemingly unspecial slab was actually the strongest battle skill on the Tianyuan continent, a saint-tier battle skill. Chapter 502, Roping in Ming Dong. Jian Chen's breathing turned coarse. A saint-tier battle skill was definitely the most valuable battle skill on the Tianyuan continent. This was something that even a saint ruler would drool at the mouth for. Even among the saint rulers, very few had a saint-tier battle skill. What Jian Chen didn't expect was to find in the treasury of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom an actual saint-tier battle skill. This to him was a gargantuous shock, but the only problem was that this one was broken. It was not a full and clear depiction. Despite this, Jian Chen was still incomparably joyful. Even a broken saint-tier battle skill was priceless, since the profoundness hidden within the pattern still contained a great mystery. Back when Jian Chen had been in the Holy Lands of Mercenary City, he had been able to absorb some of the fragments of the mysteries of the world. From that, he was able to feel a resonance with the slab in front of him. It was from this resonance that he had been able to tell that this was a broken fragment of a saint-tier battle skill. Clutching at the stone slab, Jian Chen couldn't help but feel his body shake. This discovery was far too great. Although he was unable to practice any saint-tier battle skills, the stone slab would still be able to help him comprehend the mysteries of the world. To Jian Chen, this stone slab would be the bridge that would take him to the world of saint rulers. The excitement in his heart persisted for a while before Jian Chen was finally able to calm down. Gingerly putting the stone slab into his space ring, he pretended as if nothing had happened and continued to stroll around. In about the time it took to make a cup of tea, everyone had already searched through the entirety of the treasury, but no one had discovered anything too out of the ordinary. Aside from the Howlite and Saint Tier battle skill, Jian Chen hadn't received anything else. Despite this, Jian Chen only felt joy and uncontested bliss that couldn't be seen on his face. He knew all too clearly that a Saint Tier battle skill was definitely no small matter. If the several imperial advisors were to know that he had it, they would definitely try to remove it from him. Have everything here collected and taken away. Jian Chen commanded to the soldiers outside. Yes. The few soldiers immediately headed into the third story with their space rings and began to collect everything in sight into them. While the soldiers busied themselves inside, Jian Chen and the rest gathered around. Has anyone found anything of interest? Jian Chen asked. While the items in here are quite extraordinary, nothing really caught my eye and was worth me taking. Qin Wuming shook his head. That's right, the decorations I put around back home would be better than the items in here by several amounts. Qin Wujian spoke. As a Heaven Saint Master and General of the Eastern Deity Swords, money and items like this weren't worth much in their eyes. Ming Dong's space ring had several items of considerable monetary cost. With a chuckle, he spoke, I'm not as rich as you all, so I've put some stuff in my ring for now. If I am ever short on money, I will sell them. Hearing this, Jian Chen smiled. Ming Dong, you are still afraid of being short on money despite your strength? If you ever lack money, go and kill several Class 5 magical beasts and sell the cores whenever. Rolling his eyes at Jian Chen, Ming Dong's mouth twitched. Do you really think a Class 5 magical beast is something an Earth Saint Master could easily kill? Just going into the forest to find one would take forever. If our friend Ming Dong would like, then he is always welcome to join our Eastern Deity Swords. He would at the very least be able to become a general with 100,000 soldiers under him and a salary guaranteed to fit his uses. Would you be interested? Qin Wuming laughed as he spoke to Ming Dong. He had seen through Ming Dong's hidden talent, not even 30 years old and he already a 6th cycle Earth Saint Master. With this talent, he wouldn't even be 50 years old before he made the breakthrough to become a Heaven Saint Master. This was more than enough for people to wish to bring him in. Ming Dong didn't hesitate to shake his head. I'll be fine. I am a person that loves to spend his days traveling. Spending every day within your camps is something I am not suited for. Besides, I have already decided that I will travel with Jian Chen. Wherever he goes, I will go. Qin Ji walked up to Ming Dong and held his shoulder. I knew that brother Ming Dong would decline uncle's invitation. However, Ming Dong, we are brothers through good and bad, and brother Jian Chen is already the imperial protector of our Qinhuang kingdom. We cannot have your own status too far down, so I have a proposal I wish for brother Ming Dong to agree to. What proposal? Say it. However, I can't guarantee that I'll agree to it. Ming Dong spoke unflinching. Qin Ji patted Ming Dong on the shoulder with a laugh. It's nothing major. I just hope that when brother Ming Dong makes the breakthrough to become a Heaven Saint Master, he will take up a position as an imperial advisor for our Qinhuang kingdom. Naturally, we will not limit your movements. Instead, we will provide assistance whenever needed, just like we do with Jian Chen. Ming Dong pondered the proposal for a moment. No restriction on movement and even assistance is provided. It seems to me to have no shortcomings. Seeing Ming Dong be swayed, Qin Ji hurriedly moved to strike while the iron was hot. Of course there are no disadvantages. Our Qinhuang kingdom is one of the 8 great powers with many vassal states nearby and an incomparable amount of power. Even among the 8 great powers, our Qinhuang kingdom ranks among the highest. We have not been in any wars for several hundreds of years, so your time as an imperial advisor with us would be filled with leisure time. There is no need for you to do any work." Ming Dong went silent for a moment. Then, he finally agreed to Qin Ji's request. "Fine then, seeing that we are brothers, I'll agree to this. When I become a Heaven Saint Master, I will become an imperial advisor for your Qinhuang kingdom." "Then that's that." Qin Ji laughed joyfully. With Ming Dong agreeing to become an imperial advisor, he was far too happy. It meant he would gain an additional hand and power when the time came for the succession for the throne. "My dear friend Ming Dong, my Jessan kingdom is also in need of imperial advisors. Might you consider this as well?" The king of the Jessan kingdom suddenly spoke up. Ming Dong knew that the king of the Jessan kingdom was Jian Chen's future father-in-law, so he was basically family as well. With that, Ming Dong gave a quick and concise agreement to him as well. "The Jessan kingdom is the homelands to my brother. It is naturally my duty to protect the Jessan kingdom to the best of my ability. Your Majesty, please wait for me to make the breakthrough to become a Heaven Saint Master before I become an imperial advisor to the Jessan kingdom. Otherwise, my strength as an Earth Saint Master wouldn't be enough to uphold the prestige of being an imperial advisor." "Ha ha ha, no problem, there is no problem at all." The king laughed. He had planned long ago to bring Ming Dong into his graces, but because his starting relationship with him wasn't all that familiar, he had been afraid of being declined straight away. He had put it off, day after day, waiting for his sons to become friends with Ming Dong to foster a friendly friendship. Only after that had been accomplished would he send a formal invitation. Chapter 503, Dismantling the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom in the blink of an eye. Ming Dong had become an imperial advisor for both the Qinhuang and Jessan kingdom. Although he wasn't officially one yet, it was just a matter of time before he was. In 3 years, he should be able to make the breakthrough to become a Heaven Saint Master and become one of the strongest individuals on the Tianyuan continent. At the same time, his change in identity would overturn the sky and earth around thanks to the huge change. That was because an imperial advisor for the Qinhuang kingdom was a far greater luxury than being a Heaven Saint Master. Ever since Ming Dong had followed Jian Chen to Mercenary City, he had made the figurative leap over the Dragon's Gate to become a magnificent dragon. If not for that one trip to Mercenary City, Ming Dong would never have been able to become a 6th cycle Earth Saint Master by the age of 30 or receive such treatment. Imperial Protector, all of the items have been placed within our space rings now. One of the soldiers in charge of managing the items made his way to Jian Chen before respectfully handing over several space rings in his hand over to him. Jian Chen took the space rings and then spoke to Qin Wuming and the king of the Jessan kingdom. "We will have a share to this. Let us wait for it all to be converted into purple coins before splitting it." "There's no need." Qin Wuming laughed. "Imperial Protector, the items in here aren't worth any consideration over. Although they add up to a decent sum of money, it isn't something we would even glance at. The Jessan kingdom and your family have more need for it than we do." "Then that's that. These items will be taken by our Jessan kingdom." Jian Chen wasn't one to argue. He knew that Qin Wuming truly felt the money was not worth his notice, but the Jessan kingdom and Changyang clan were a different matter altogether. Neither of the two were as wealthy as the Qinhuang kingdom. Several 100,000 purple coins was not a small sum of wealth to them. Furthermore, if the Jessan kingdom and Changyang clan wished to expand, the support of the Qinhuang kingdom wouldn't be enough and they would need money to expand. Afterward, everyone left the treasury. They stood by the giant gates where Jian Chen looked at the many times reinforced steel building. With a slight mumble, he said, "This treasury is quite considerable in price, why don't we take this as well?" Hearing this, the eyes of the king lit up. He had long since thought of the same idea, but he knew that he wouldn't be able to do it himself. Hearing Jian Chen bring up the topic of wanting to take the treasury building, he struck while the iron was hot. "My dear nephew has an excellent proposal. This treasury is something this king has been looking at. It is made from steel that was reinforced 100 times over and has a thickness of 5 meters. Even a heaven saint master would need to spend a considerable amount of time to break past it. With such a building, this king estimates it weighs about 500,000 kilograms, making it priceless. Even compared to that tungsten alloy door, the cost wouldn't be that major. Yes, with the steel being reinforced so many times, the price becomes rather considerable. Something like this shouldn't remain here, we should take it with us. We should have some soldiers come and cut the treasury apart into smaller pieces before putting it into our space rings for easy transport. Ming Dong suggested. Jian Chen hesitated for a moment before finally nodding his head. Fine then, we'll have the best artisans in the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom come over and have them cut down the treasury. Remember, offer high prices. Hearing this, one of the quick-witted soldiers spoke up, Honored Imperial Protector, this soldier will go make the arrangements. Jian Chen looked up at the sky, it's already getting late, we've worked hard today. Why not take a rest and talk about the next step tomorrow? Afterward, everyone took up residency in the palace of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom while the soldiers made camp outside. All of the 200 Earth Saint Masters from the Eastern Deity Swords kept a tight watch around the entire palace while even farther away, a patrol could be seen every 3 steps and a whistle every 5. The residential palaces were under strict guard with the defenses under heavy lock and key. That evening, the bright circular moon rose high into the night sky. Sprinkling down on the ground with moonlight, the darkness on the earth was scattered while the stars filled the night sky. There were so many stars that it was useless to count as they blinked like children. The night was extremely calm and the moon extremely beautiful. Within the palace of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, it was even more quiet. If one were to stand at the very top, they would be able to see the entire palace and all of the men standing quietly here and there as if they were stone statues. From the moonlight sprinkling down on them, one would be able to barely see the twinkling silver armor they wore. Within the palace, Princess Yu sat by herself at a stone table in a flower garden. Both hands were propped under her chin as her little head was tilted up toward the night sky in a daze. Her face had a stupefied look, making it hard to understand what she was thinking about. Princess Yu, you're still admiring the moon this late at night? Why haven't you slept yet? A voice called out from behind as Jian Chen somehow arrived right behind the princess with a smile. Tonight, Jian Chen swapped out his robes for a black-colored one. Hidden by the shadows of the night, his entire person seemed to blend in with the darkness. If one wasn't careful, they would ignore Jian Chen entirely. Jian Chen's voice came out of nowhere, causing the dazed princess to let out a cry in surprise and her body shook violently in fright. Rising up from her stone seat, the princess turned around with some anger and pouted, "You can't move about so silently behind someone's back and scare them like that." Jian Chen laughed before cupping his hands together, "I apologize, I've let the princess become frightened." Hearing Jian Chen call her by her title, Princess Yu's eyebrows furrowed together before complaining slightly, "Changyang Xiangtian, do you plan to continue on calling me princess?" Jian Chen was taken back for a moment before quickly responding, "Then, I will call you Yu from now on." Princess Yu seemed pleased at Jian Chen's answer, and with a faint smile, her beautiful eyes looked unflinchingly at Jian Chen's handsome and stalwart face. "With it being so late, were you not able to sleep either?" Jian Chen shook his head slightly before walking to the stone table in front of the princess and spoke, "I'm not accustomed to sleeping much anymore. I have a problem that's causing me some difficulty even after trying to find a solution for half the day. That is why I'm here, to clear my mind." The princess sat back down and stared at Jian Chen with some indulgence. "What is causing you so much trouble? If it's convenient, why not speak to me about it? Let me help you think. It pertains to the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom." Jian Chen summarized his thoughts before speaking. "Now that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is pretty much dealt with, all that remains are the terrible shambles of the kingdom. Right now I am thinking about just what needs to be done to these terrible shambles. If the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom loses its ruler and government, the entire kingdom will fall into anarchy. Several of the sects or families with power will most definitely take advantage of this to seize control of the territory, and at that moment, the entire Heavenly Eagle Kingdom would be sent ablaze with the flames of war. Even the innocent would be affected by this. The princess thought for a moment before responding, "Changyang Xiangtian, you speak correctly. Now that the Qinhuang Kingdom's army has suppressed the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, the other powers of the kingdom won't dare to make any movements. But the very moment the Qinhuang Kingdom leaves, they will act without fear. There is an extremely huge chance that things will unfurl as you say, but resolving this issue isn't too hard either." "What solution are you proposing?" Jian Chen asked. "Did you never think about controlling the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom yourself?" the princess suggested. Jian Chen shook his head. "I've thought of that before, but I found it an inappropriate action. Behind the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is the sect of Dragon and Tiger who are still watching. They themselves are strong and they don't fear the Qinhuang Kingdom either. If we were to bring some men to control the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, we don't even need to talk about the innocent civilians of the kingdom, but instead the headache that the sect of Dragon and Tiger would cause with their interference. Another reason is that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is too far away from our Jessen Kingdom. It wouldn't be convenient for a connection to be made. So controlling the kingdom wouldn't be that easy. After all, we are not as strong as the Qinhuang Kingdom. If that's the case, then we may as well disband the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Split up the territory of the kingdom before bestowing it to the more powerful clans and sects on the condition of them swearing an oath of loyalty to the Qinhuang Kingdom and become a vassal. This will simultaneously avoid any internal struggle and ward off any attempt of the sect of Dragon and Tiger seizing control of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. The Princess Yu was far more used to these matters than Jian Chen, so she was easily able to find a decent enough plan. Jian Chen hummed as he thought about Princess Yu's plan. Finally, an excited smile gradually appeared on his face. This plan isn't bad. Not only would the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom fade away, but it would also be given to the sects and families to control without fear of the sect of Dragon and Tiger seizing the central control. This is killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Not bad at all. It appears our choice to take a stroll tonight was an incredibly wise choice. Hearing Jian Chen's praise, the princess revealed a sweet smile on her face. Having been able to help Jian Chen, this was an incredibly happy affair to her. Yu, it's getting late. You should sleep first. Tomorrow morning I will begin to implement your plan. I believe that it will be a success. Jian Chen smiled to Yu. The princess replied obediently as she rose from her stone stool and walked toward her own room. Having Jian Chen call her by Yu instead of princess had already changed her. Her heart was overjoyed, and the previous sadness in it was cleared away instantly. Chapter 504, 7 Regions. The next afternoon, Jian Chen sat on the golden throne in the middle of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom's palace. By his 2 sides were Qin Wuming, Qin Wujian, Kafir, Yi Ming, and several other Heaven Saint Masters. Down below, 2 rows of soldiers from the Eastern deity swords stood on standby. Each one of them was an Earth Saint Master in strength. At that moment, several imperial advisors from the Qinhuang Kingdom came in with the 7 captive Heaven Saint Masters from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Stopping in the center, the 10 imperial advisors stood in a calm line behind the 7 captives. Not a word was spoken, but each one of the 7 captives felt a tremendous amount of pressure stifle their hearts. Over 20 Heaven Saint Masters were congregated in this palace hall. Despite not a single word being spoken, the quietness of the palace made the atmosphere overwhelmingly oppressing. Although the 7 men from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom were reduced to being prisoners, they were still ultimately Heaven Saint Masters. From their bones, a strong and proud power could be felt leaking out. Each one of them had their heads held high, and it was only when they looked at Jian Chen that a complicated look appeared on their faces. From his talks with Hu Ba from the sect of Dragon and Tiger, Jian Chen's identity had already been revealed for everyone to hear. The Heaven Saint Masters fortunate enough to survive all now understood Jian Chen's status, but it had still been very hard for any one of them to believe that this was true and accept such a fact. Calmly looking at the 7 captives, Jian Chen didn't reveal any domineering aura from his body. He seemed like an ordinary person sitting there, and it was only after a moment that he finally broke the silence in the palace. Out of the 15 Heaven Saint Masters of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, only you 7 are left. Jian Chen stated. None of the 7 Heaven Saint Masters said anything. The reason why they had surrendered in the first place was because they had no desire to throw away their lives in vain. After all, they had nothing to do with the anger that existed between the Jessen Kingdom and the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Because they were dragged into this, they were all afraid of saying something that may cause Jian Chen to grow angry and lose their life. The imperial protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom far surpassed whatever entity they could safely anger. He was like a gigantic mountain that they wouldn't even be able to blow wind on. It was only because of the support of the sect of Dragon and Tiger that they had been brave enough to fight the Qinhuang Kingdom. With the sect of Dragon and Tiger gone, there was absolutely no way that they would fight against the Qinhuang Kingdom now. All that would remain to them on that path was death. Seeing that no one was talking, Jian Chen continued to speak. Does everyone know why this one called you all here today? Honored Imperial Protector, please explain. One of the individuals respectfully cupped his hands together with an expression that revealed no dissatisfaction. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is currently occupied by us. I will speak the truth to you, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom will not survive. The name needs to disappear from the Tian Yuan continent. To prevent the sect of Dragon and Tiger from taking control, we will dismantle the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. With this, Jian Chen stopped speaking for a second and awaited the responses from the 7. Sure enough, each one of the 7 Heaven Saint Masters blanched. Looking at each other, expressions of worry overcame their face, but no one dared to say anything. You 7, you each must belong to a different faction, I assume. Jian Chen spoke. The 7 hesitated for a while before one of them finally spoke. The honored Imperial Protector speaks correctly. We 7 all belong to a different sect or clan. Now then, have the 7 of you decided what you will do in the future? Will you pick death? Or will you continue to live? Jian Chen asked. We hope that the honored Imperial Protector will point to us the path of life. One of the individuals spoke. To bow and scrape their knees for a youth in his 20s was rather embarrassing, but when under a roof, one couldn't help but bow their head. Then, I will tell you my plan. I hope that everyone will find it fitting. With that, Jian Chen took out a map from his space ring and gave it to the 7. Now, I will split up the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom into 7 regions for you 7 to control. Each person will be responsible for their own region, and from here on out, there will be no such thing as the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. There will only be the regions that you 7 will have jurisdiction over. Hearing this, the 7 of them had looks of disbelief on their faces. Some were pleasantly surprised, some were confused, and some were doubtful. They all knew in their hearts that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom covered a vast amount of territory. If it were to truly be split up into 7 regions for them to control, then they would each find their own power and influence increased several times over. This to them, was an incredibly huge surprise. Although they all belonged to clans or sects that could be considered to be the strongest of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, the amount of territory they controlled wasn't exactly large. The fact that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had 15 Heaven Saint Masters and because of the kingdom's meticulous planning, each family only had enough influence to cover about the size of a mountain, and it was incredibly hard to increase that influence. With Jian Chen's actions, it was as if he had delivered a free meat pie for them to eat and increase their power. However, the 7 individuals were old and experienced. They knew that Jian Chen wouldn't so freely send them such a delicious treat. In an instant, they guessed Jian Chen's plan. Honored Imperial Protector, do you mean for us to swear our allegiances to you? One of them asked. Jian Chen laughed, you are half right. Correct, with such a great benefit, how could I just give this away to you for free, especially when you first tried to be enemies to the Qinhuang kingdom? Jian Chen's later half of his speech caused the seven to blanch once more, but before they could say anything, Jian Chen continued, I'll not mention what happened in the past for now. I'll say what I plan on doing. My request is rather simple. I wish for you seven to handle the work for the Qinhuang kingdom and swear loyalty to the Qinhuang kingdom to become external members of it. Would you agree to this request? Although Jian Chen wanted them to swear loyalty to himself, his current strength wasn't enough to make the sect of Dragon and Tiger cower in fear. By tying these seven to the Qinhuang kingdom, the sect of Dragon and Tiger wouldn't act so rashly in case their plans backfired on them. Otherwise, he would be afraid of walking by himself and having the person behind the sect of Dragon and Tiger interfere with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom matter. Plus, these seven swearing loyalty to the Qinhuang kingdom or to Jian Chen wasn't too different. After all, his status as an imperial protector wasn't just for show. It was only that for the sect of Dragon and Tiger, the might of the Qinhuang kingdom was far more prominent than an imperial protector at the strength of a heaven saint master. Fine, I agree. From today henceforth, my returning cloud sect will swear loyalty to the Qinhuang kingdom and handle its affairs. My Bukashana clan agrees to swear loyalty to the Qinhuang kingdom. The Hilo clan agrees to swear loyalty to the Qinhuang kingdom. This time, none of the seven members hesitated to respond. With a crisp response, their faces couldn't hide their excitement. Although they knew that Jian Chen wished to use this method to control the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, it wasn't too important to them. The more important thing was that they had a robust pillar of support behind them. Furthermore, being connected to the Qinhuang Kingdom was something that many kingdoms wouldn't be able to get even if they tried. Chapter 505, An injured Qin Wuqian. The reactions of the seven was within Jian Chen's calculations. After all, this was a good chance to curry favor with the Qinhuang kingdom. Only an idiot would give up this once-in-a-lifetime event. From now on, you seven are men of the Qinhuang kingdom. I will leave this affair to you seven. If the sect of Dragon and Tiger come to make trouble, they will be making an enemy of the Qinhuang kingdom. The Qinhuang kingdom will not sit idly on the sidelines for this. Jian Chen spoke. Yes. The seven obeyed. You seven may leave now. I've already split this kingdom into 7 equal territories for you all. When you get back, prepare to clean up whatever needs to be done. As for what needs to be done, I don't think that it's necessary for me to tell you what to do. Jian Chen smiled. We know what must be done, please rest assured, Imperial Protector. We will not let you down for sure. The seven vowed. After they had left, Jian Chen looked back to Qin Wuming. General Qin Wuming, would doing this give the Qinhuang kingdom any future troubles? Qin Wuming let out a small chuckle as he listened to Jian Chen. Imperial Protector, you underestimate our Qinhuang kingdom. Although the sect of Dragon and Tiger is quite strong, the saint ruler in their sect is the only one of importance. The rest of their individuals aren't even within the eyes of the Qinhuang kingdom, and with the vastness of our lands, we have many subsidiary kingdoms, which means we have many heaven saint masters within our ranks. As for the saint ruler himself, he won't be too much of a problem unless he truly wishes to go against our 4 imperial protectors with his strength. Otherwise, the saint ruler won't decide to go against the Qinhuang kingdom for such a small matter. Qin Wuming's words let Jian Chen feel at ease. He had at first been worried that the Qinhuang kingdom would be inconvenienced by this matter, but looking at it now, it appeared that he had put too much thought into it. After a satisfactory conclusion was met, Jian Chen felt quite at ease with himself. Standing up from the throne, he spoke, Everyone, let us split up, but not return back home just yet. Stay for 2 days or so, so the remaining powers of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom will cower in fear while the 7 do their best to stabilize their territories. After everyone left, the dissolvement of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom made its way out of the Imperial Palace and left everyone that heard the news in shock. Soon, the news made its way to every single corner of the entire kingdom. In an instant, magical beasts capable of sending messages could be seen flying through the air in droves to reach any place the information might not have reached. Combined with this method of sending messages, within a day, practically everyone within the kingdom knew about the changes. After the information was spread, all of the commoners of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had different reactions than those with power. The commoners of the kingdom were all shocked for a good while, but they stabilized after some time and continued on with their lives as if everything was normal. As long as the commoners could continue to survive on the Tianyuan continent, it didn't matter if the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom existed or if the reign passed to someone else. This matter didn't concern them, so they left it at that. Naturally, there were several patriotic groups loyal to the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom that felt indignant at this. They voiced that the kingdom existed if the citizens existed, rather that the kingdom died with its king. They were discontent with how the Qinhuang kingdom had done things, but because these thoughts only belonged to the minority, they stirred no large wave. As for the various powers, they all made the same actions without exception. Each and every single one of them recalled all of their members and prepared themselves for expansion and war to fight and conquer territory. They knew that with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom separated, this was a chance that was rare to come by. If they did not capitalize on this chance and prepare the horses and banners of war, once the other powers stabilized, there would be no chances left. This action was even taken up by the city rulers of several major cities. Some of the stronger cities had even established themselves as king of the mountain with attempts to annex the surrounding weaker cities nearby in hopes of establishing a new kingdom. All in all, after news of the collapse of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was spread, the equilibrium that was maintained in the kingdom was shattered. The entire kingdom was tense with anxiety, and although it had been relatively quiet for now, those with a keen mind and a sharp eye knew that this was only the calm before the storm. Afterward, it didn't take long for news of several factions erupting into war. However, another piece of information made its way around the kingdom, serving as a wake-up call to every single inhabitant within these lands. It also extinguished the ravenous flames of desire in their hearts. The Bukashana clan, the Hilo clan, Blood Moon mercenaries, Worldly sect, Windfall Mountain, Earthfire school, and the Double Mystery sect all declared complete control and authority over the remaining parts of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. At the same time, they declared their adherence and loyalty to the Qinhuang Kingdom. With the surviving 7 Heaven Saint Masters of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom all in their own respective factions, it was no exaggeration to say that these 7 powers were fully deserving of being the 7 strongest existences within the kingdom. With the 7 greatest powers stepping into this power struggle, the other families and clans didn't stand a chance. None of them had a Heaven Saint Master or the rapport of a kingdom as strong as the Qinhuang Kingdom. This meant the 7 powers of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom possessed no chances of being defeated and would leave any opposing family without a single pocket of resistance. This bit of information allowed the originally nervous Heavenly Eagle Kingdom to return to the previous calm from before. Everyone knew that while the kingdom itself had been dissolved, the Qinhuang Kingdom had simply served to replace them as the ruling party, only stronger in terms of control. What could be ascertained was the fact that should the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom ever give rise to another Heaven Saint Master, that one would never be able to challenge the 7 powers due to the Qinhuang Kingdom backing them up. As long as the Qinhuang Kingdom gave shelter, the 7 powers would never lose their position. The 7 territories of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom were already territories that could not be disputed over. When the 7 Heaven Saint Masters returned to their respective families, clans, and sects, they had immediately sprung into action and moved to claim their rightful territories. And with the backing of the Qinhuang Kingdom, the acquisition of the territories had gone by smoothly. All of the lesser clans and sects had immediately pledged allegiance to these 7 powers, and some of them had even become a subsidiary power to them. This had allowed for the 7 powers to completely control the entire Heavenly Eagle Kingdom in 3 short days. Among the 7, the group that profited the most was the Blood Moon Mercenaries. They were able to use their one Heaven Saint Master to keep up the front while all of their Earth Saint Masters were among the next strongest within the kingdom. Thus, they were quickly introduced as one of the strongest powers of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, but because they were at the bottom of the group, they were only able to claim a second-class city as their stronghold with a small potential for growth before the war. But now, Jian Chen's order had practically given the Blood Moon Mercenaries the power to grow to become the owners of one of the 7 partitions. The amount of area they controlled had grown 10 times over, giving no small excitement to the leader of the mercenaries. It had been 4 days since the fragmentation of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. In the original palace of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, over 1,000 artisans from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had already dismantled the treasury to a pile of scrap almost. There was no longer a 3rd story, and the materials used to build that 3rd story had been reduced to material that was later absorbed into the space rings of the Eastern deity swords. Jian Chen gave all authority over to the 7 powers to deal with any problems that may arise after the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had been disbanded. This allowed him to a hands-free approach. All he did after that was quarter some soldiers around the area to act as a deterrence. The next few days were spent in leisure. All that was needed was for him to wait for the situation to stabilize before he and the army could return to the Jessen Kingdom. At this moment, Jian Chen and Princess Yu Yu were playing chess in the flower gardens in peace. Ever since Yu Yu had helped Jian Chen with the problem of what to do with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, the relationship between the two had grown far more intimate. Or at least, it was unlike the indifference from before. Just then, Xiao Tian came walking in a hurry to Jian Chen with a serious expression and spoke, "Imperial Protector, something bad has happened. After being sent out to the Sunset Kingdom to capture the 2nd prince, Qin Wutian has come back. He's injured." Startled, Jian Chen ignored his game of chess to look at Xiao Tian. "Just what happened out there?" Qin Wutian came across an attack and suffered serious injuries. The 100 elite soldiers accompanying him faced serious damage as well. Xiao Tian spoke grimly. His face was dark. This was an attack to the power that was the Qinhuang Kingdom. Thinking for a moment, Jian Chen suddenly stood up before asking, "Where is Qin Wutian?" "In the official hall." Bidding goodbye to the princess, Jian Chen hurriedly left the garden to rush to the official hall. Just as Jian Chen arrived at the hall, all of the strongest people from the Qinhuang Kingdom had already congregated there. Each one of them had a dark expression filled with anger. On one of the chairs, a white-faced Qin Wutian sat weakly on it. His entire body was drenched with blood, and his silver armor had several cracks running through it. On his chest was a clear-to-see palm print. Chapter 506, Leaving for the Sect of Dragon and Tiger. Seeing the injured state Qin Wutian was in, Jian Chen's eyes flashed with a dangerous light. "Just what in the world happened for you to be in such a state?" he asked with a low voice. "Imperial Protector, we followed your orders to go to the Sunset Kingdom to find the runaway prince. When we finally found and captured the prince, we ran into 4 of the individuals from the Sect of Dragon and Tiger on the road back. They injured us and rescued the 2nd prince. Although none of my 100 soldiers were killed, practically everyone was heavily injured." Qin Wutian spoke weakly. "How ridiculous is this? The Sect of Dragon and Tiger seem to have eaten the guts of the leopard if they are willing to oppose our Qinhuang Kingdom. We cannot let matters stand like this. We must ensure that the Sect of Dragon and Tiger pays a heavy price in return. We absolutely cannot pardon them. The conduct of their sect is clearly meaning that they do not bother putting our Qinhuang Kingdom in their eye. This is a clear provocation of us." Hearing this, several imperial advisors were furious beyond belief. Their hair flew up like the mane of a furious lion. the actions of the sect of Dragon and Tiger had enraged all of them. We will make sure that we repay them in kind. The palm of heaven does not neglect anyone and would strike down anyone with their hand. Qin Wuming was furious as well as he growled. Father speaks correctly. No matter who it was that hurt my elder brother, that hand will definitely move toward them. Qin Wuxian spoke dangerously, his eyes glinting with a dangerous killing intent. Qin Wuming looked to Jian Chen, Imperial Protector, please allow us to go to the sect of Dragon and Tiger. This matter is important to the dignity of our Qinhuang kingdom, we cannot let things stand like this. Yes, Imperial Protector, this matter encroaches upon the dignity of our kingdom. Let alone the trifling sect of Dragon and Tiger, even one of the other 8 great powers would have to face justice if they committed such an act. The men of our Qinhuang kingdom are not some easy target to bully. One of the imperial advisors spoke virtuously. Everyone speaks correctly. This matter has to be responded to in kind. We cannot so easily pardon the sect of Dragon and Tiger for this. Jian Chen's voice paused slightly as he turned to look at Qin Wuxian. Qin Wuxian, you go and recover your strength first. I will send someone to the imperial city to bring all of the Radiant Saint Masters over. Qi Wuxian nodded without a word before allowing himself to be led away by 2 other soldiers to rest. After Qin Wuxian had left, Jian Chen's eyes scoured over the others. Let us all discuss our plan on dealing with the sect of Dragon and Tiger. What ideas or plans might everyone have? The sect of Dragon and Tiger is actually willing to make an enemy out of us, for such a small and insignificant prince. It appears that they are so reliant on their backings that they no longer fear the Qinhuang kingdom. Other than that, the second prince has some sort of particular status that is beyond our estimations of him being a simple prince. Chao Kachin speculated. Right. That line of thinking is not different from this old man's own. However, I believe that the sect of Dragon and Tiger isn't actively working to have us as their enemy. They are working on the second prince's behalf. Otherwise, the 100 soldiers wouldn't have just been heavily injured. With 4 Heaven Saint Masters, killing them all wouldn't have been difficult at all. Another imperial advisor gave his input. No matter what goal they have, we should still pay them a visit to regain the face we have lost to them, and ensure no other faction undermines our Qinhuang kingdom. Jian Chen hummed for a moment. How about this? We wait until Qin Wuxian's injuries have fully healed before we set out and see just what attitude their sect has toward us. Yes, that'll do. If need be, we can also have the other imperial protectors come spearhead this. Qin Wuxian spoke. After that, everyone split up. Simultaneously, all of the Radiant Saint Masters within the imperial city of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom were gathered to heal Qin Wuxian's wounds. Radiant Saint Masters were extremely precious within the Tianyuan continent, meaning that they were sparse in numbers. Within such a large city like this one, there was roughly a dozen of them, and they were not particularly strong. The strongest was only at the 4th class, so with the scope of Qin Wuxian's injuries, it took 2 whole days for him to completely recover. After he had left the halls, Jian Chen immediately walked toward the resting room where the king of the Jessan kingdom was. Within, the Heaven Saint Masters Kafir and Yi Ming were both inside. The 4 sat by the table for a moment before Jian Chen spoke. There is a clash between us and the sect of Dragon and Tiger. We are on the verge of walking toward their sect. Your Majesty, you and your army will return to the Jessan kingdom tomorrow. Changyang Xiangtian. Allow Yi Ming and I to accompany you to where the sect of Dragon and Tiger is. Although our strength pales in comparison to the imperial advisors of the Qinhuang kingdom, we are still of help. Kafir spoke. That cannot do, headmaster. You and Senior Yi Ming will both have to return with the king. The 10 imperial advisors and the 3 generals from the Qinhuang kingdom will go with me to exact justice on the sect of Dragon and Tiger. There cannot be an individual not at the Heaven Saint Master rank within our list. Jian Chen didn't hesitate to shoot down Kafir's proposal. Although it would be difficult for the army of the Qinhuang kingdom to come across danger, precautions had to be made, and Jian Chen had planned on having Ming Dong and the others to be sent back with the army since they offered the best security. Very well then. We will take charge of the well-being of the army then. Kafir understood Jian Chen's worries without another word to be said about the matter. The king noticed the grim expression on Jian Chen's face, guessing that the sect of Dragon and Tiger had done something particularly repugnant. My dear nephew, this matter with the sect of Dragon and Tiger, how serious is it? Your Majesty, please rest assured. The sect of Dragon and Tiger is quite strong, but they cannot be compared to the Qinhuang kingdom. This time they have offended the Qinhuang kingdom's honor. This is something the Qinhuang kingdom won't idly stand by for. If need be, I believe the saint ruler of the Qinhuang kingdom will get involved as well. Jian Chen spoke without worry. With the origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits, Jian Chen didn't fear any heaven saint master. All he truly worried about was the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Upon hearing the words saint ruler, Kafir and Yi Jing both let out a startled gasp. A layer of strength that high was something that was beyond their comprehension. Although a saint ruler was only one realm away from them, the distance between the two realms could never be made up, like a fly going against an elephant. The Tian Yuan continent had actually an ancient saying, under a saint ruler, all are ants. This is already something we cannot get involved in. Yi Ming sighed. Ah. Kafir sighed, to think those years ago, the very first headmaster of Kargath Academy was a saint ruler. It is unfortunate he was a free wanderer who loved to travel. I have no idea where he has gone, and it has already been hundreds of years since we last heard from him. If the headmaster were to continue watching over the Jessan kingdom, then our kingdom would have soared a long time ago. On the second morning, the army stationed in the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had prepared themselves to leave. 1 million of the soldiers had already gathered outside of the city in a clearing. All they needed was the order and they would set out immediately. Jian Chen, you must be careful. Ming Dong regarded Jian Chen. He knew that Jian Chen would be going with a group of people to deal with the sect of Dragon and Tiger, but he was especially worried for him. Jian Chen chuckled, why are you so grim? It is not like I won't return. Do not forget I represent the Qinhuang kingdom, the sect of Dragon and Tiger will not dare to act against me. At this time, Yu took off one of the accessories she wore. Hesitating for a moment, she then personally handed it over to Jian Chen before speaking with a whisper, Changyang Xiangtian, this is the longevity lock my mother gave to me. It can bring peace to a person, and now, I give it to you in hopes that you will be protected. Yu's face had gone red, but she was still able to wrap the longevity lock around Jian Chen's neck. Jian Chen gave an embarrassed smile as he tucked the longevity lock on his neck behind his clothes. Feeling the warmth radiate from within the object, Jian Chen's heart felt at peace. This longevity lock, I will treasure it for sure. Jian Chen smiled gently to the princess as he pledged. This was the very first time he had been given something by a woman, and it was something to be worn very close as well. Xianger, finish your matter with the sect of Dragon and Tiger and quickly come back. The restoration of the Changyang clan is nearly complete. You are an important figure to our clan. Without you, the Changyang clan will be unable to continue with the ceremonies. Changyang Ba spoke. I know, father. When my business with the sect of Dragon and Tiger is done, I will return. Jian Chen replied. After bidding farewell to everyone, the Jessan kingdom and the Qinhuang kingdom's army departed. Aside from Jian Chen, the generals, and the imperial advisors of the Qinhuang kingdom, all of the others followed the army of the Qinhuang kingdom back to the Jessan kingdom. All that was left were 100 soldiers who would protect the treasury as the artisans continued to dismantle it. Jian Chen watched the army leave before returning back to the imperial palace. However, the overly large palace was now empty without a single person to be seen, giving off the sense of abandonment. Only the sounds of the tempered steel of the treasury could be heard being stripped from within, giving a small bit of life to the palace. On the next day, Qin Wutian's injuries were fully recovered by the Radiant Saint Masters. Not willing to stay much longer, the group immediately set out for the sect of Dragon and Tiger. The sect of Dragon and Tiger was situated on top of a large mountain relatively close to the Sunset Kingdom, but it was not a place where any country could define it as their own territory. The surrounding area wasn't under the jurisdiction of any kingdom and belonged solely to the sect of Dragon and Tiger. The sect of Dragon and Tiger had existed for 1,000 years at the very least, so their sect being located here was not a secret at all. Many people knew of this sect's existence, but only a small amount of individuals knew that the sect of Dragon and Tiger had a saint ruler as their strongest force of power. Although the sect of Dragon and Tiger had existed for many years, they were very strict in their standards for accepting disciples. Thus, they did not have many of them, not even 10,000 of them. However, among these numbers, each and every single one of them were gifted individuals who would spend years under the tutelage of a saint ruler. Because of that, the sect of Dragon and Tiger would produce one strong individual after another, leading to the sect's continuous rise in power instead of it weakening. Chapter 507, Might of a Saint Ruler. 1. There was a total of 14 people with Jian Chen as they traveled day in and night out. Finally, they arrived at the giant mountain where the sect of Dragon and Tiger was and descended down onto it. The leaders of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, come on out quickly now. After setting down, the general of the Eastern deity swords, Qin Wuming immediately boomed. His voice traveled like the rumbling sounds of thunder throughout the mountains, echoing loudly through the world. Perhaps knowing that the Qinhuang kingdom would come to start trouble, the sect of Dragon and Tiger had already made their preparations. As soon as Qin Wuming's voice boomed out, a dozen individuals could be seen flying forth before stopping 20 meters away from those from the Qinhuang kingdom. There was a total of 16 people from the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Aside from the prior 10 people who had been in the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, there was still another 6 men that were new. From those 6, there was a middle-aged couple, 2 middle-aged men, and another 2 elders who looked to be in their 70s. You all must be men from the Qinhuang Kingdom. A purple-robed elder cupped his hands as he spoke to them with an expressionless face. Correct. We are from the Qinhuang Kingdom. Sect of Dragon and Tiger, not only did several of your members take away a criminal we captured, but you even injured my son. What is the meaning of this? Could it be that you wish for an open war to take place between you and the Qinhuang kingdom? Qin Wutian glared dangerously at the group of people from the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Sect of Dragon and Tiger, you must offer us compensation for this affair. Otherwise, our Qinhuang kingdom and your sect will cross blades instead. Qin Wutian spoke in a low voice. Hearing the 2 men speak, the purple-robed elder gave a faint smile. If you 2 could please calm down. This one is the sect master of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, Chris. Pertaining to the event that happened several days ago, I know of it, but it was nothing more than a misunderstanding. Humph, what kind of bullshit understanding is it? Sect of Dragon and Tiger, do not think you can shirk your responsibilities. Our men have been injured by your sect. Speak then, how should this matter be absolved? Qin Wujian spoke dangerously. Despite being in front of the mountain gates to the sect of Dragon and Tiger, he was not in the slightest bit afraid of them since he had the forces of the Qinhuang kingdom ready to support him from behind. Qin Wujian stepped forward with a sinister glare directed toward the sect of Dragon and Tiger. There is still the second prince of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. This man is someone our imperial protector wishes to capture. Yet, your men still dared to steal him away. This is simply a clear example of not willing to work with our Qinhuang kingdom. The sect master of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, Chris, did not grow angry. Instead, there was still a faint smile on his face. Our sect truly did offend your Qinhuang kingdom several days ago, therefore I, Chris, wish to apologize. However, this second prince has a special identity since his mother is a member of our sect of Dragon and Tiger. So the second prince is considered to be a member of our sect and not an outsider. As such, we naturally cannot allow your Qinhuang kingdom to take him away. Chris spoke with a gentle voice, but the meaning within his words was loud and clear. As long as he or she was a member of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, the Qinhuang kingdom would have no right to take him or her away. The second prince of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom included. When the men from the Qinhuang kingdom heard the implied meaning of what Chris had said, they all took on a rather hard look on their faces. Sect Master Chris, what do you mean by your words? This time, it was Xiao Tian who spoke with unbridled anger in his voice. This one doesn't mean anything more. It is only that the second prince is of our sect. Our sect of Dragon and Tiger will naturally protect him. This matter, I hope everyone will not be too forceful on. Although our sect of Dragon and Tiger isn't of the same level as your Qinhuang kingdom, we are not that easy to bully either. This one offers an apologies for the injuries inflicted several days ago. Seeing that your highness seems to have been fully healed, his injuries must not have been too grievous, meaning that it was not a big matter either. Chris spoke. Although his words were kind-sounding, he did not place any of the Qinhuang kingdom in his eye. He only spoke several words of apologies that seemed to try and even out the situation where Qin Wutian had been injured. Your sect of Dragon and Tiger dreams quite grandiosely. How could the injuries of my brother be so trifling that it could be placated with words? Qin Wujian spoke angrily. Then what might your highness propose we should do? Chris asked Qin Wujian. Qin Wujian held up 2 fingers, 2 conditions. First, you will hand over the second prince. Second, whomever injured my brother, we want his arm cut off. Hearing this, the sect master Chris had a flash of coldness go through his eyes. The previously warm expression in his face had transformed into a sinister one as he suddenly spoke, absolutely not. Chris was resolute on his decision and held no leeway for discussion. Jian Chen snorted as he strode forth. Unyielding, he spoke, then this means to say that there is no way we can compromise over this. Since it is like so, allow us to give our masterstroke here. Men of the Qinhuang kingdom, your bullying ways are too much. You truly do not give our sect of Dragon and Tiger any options. The middle-aged man next to Chris spoke angrily. What bullying? It was you that first gave us trouble. If you did not provoke us, then we would have eaten our fill and would have no quarrel to give with you. Qing Xiaofan retorted. There is nothing more that needs to be said about this. Then please allow our sect of Dragon and Tiger to see the masterstroke of the Qinhuang kingdom. The other middle-aged man growled before drawing out his saint weapon to charge at one of the imperial advisors. Following the actions of the middle-aged men, the other individual of the sect of Dragon and Tiger immediately sprung into action as well. Both sides joined the fray, and in some time, practically 30 Heaven Saint Masters were fighting right in front of the gates to the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Huge waves of energy continued to burst wave after wave from both sides and destroy the surrounding area in the blink of an eye. The battle of the 30 Heaven Saint Masters was so strong that several of the surrounding giant trees were reduced to splinters and the ground was littered with craters. As soon as the battle first started, a transparent barrier wordlessly appeared over the gates to the sect of Dragon and Tiger. It enveloped the entirety of the sect inside and prevented it from being targeted. This barrier seemed weak, but with the battle residue of 30 Heaven Saint Masters flying about, the barrier hadn't even wavered a bit. Inside the sect, several thousand disciples had been alarmed by the battle taking place outside. Standing one by one on the higher points of the place, they stared at the faraway but spectacular battle. With the barrier protecting them, they weren't in the least bit afraid of being hit by a shockwave from the battle. Fighting up in the sky, Jian Chen himself fought against 3 men. Fighting him was the sect master of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, Chris, the vice sect master, Hu Ba, and a 70-year-old man. Each one of them were extremely strong. Hu Ba and the Elder were both at the 5th cycle Heaven Saint Master strength, and Chris was a 6th cycle Heaven Saint Master. He had already reached the peak of the Heaven Saint Masters and thus had a battle strength that was astounding. With him fighting against 3 people, Jian Chen had decided to take it seriously. From the get-go, he had used the origin energy of the sword spirits, which was the thing he relied on the most. These 3 had taken the initiative to attack Jian Chen. Hu Ba had clearly told the others of Jian Chen's identity, warning both Chris and the other Elder of the dangers of the origin energy. For that reason, they didn't dare to fight Jian Chen directly. Instead, they had 2 people distract him while the third would find an opportunity to strike at Jian Chen from behind. Chapter 508, Might of a Saint Ruler, 2. The sky flashed with a violet light as Jian Chen maneuvered the azure and violet rays of light around his body. Because Jian Chen was moving far too fast, the origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits turned into a curtain of light that covered his body. Although Jian Chen had lost his saint force, which resulted in him becoming several times slower than before, his muscles had been reinforced by the 3 wisps of chaotic force, strengthening his body. Even without the saint force supporting him, the power of his body had already boosted his speed to a considerable level. Despite Chris, Hu Ba, and the third trying to defeat Jian Chen, they knew that they could not even touch the strange energy that Jian Chen held in his hand. Their saint weapons never dared to cross blades, so the 3 of them felt that they had an arm and a leg tied behind their backs. They couldn't fight to their best ability, and felt extremely sullen because of that. But what really made them want to spit blood out was that no matter where they slashed at Jian Chen with their saint weapons, the origin energy would come from every direction possible at the most critical moment to stop their attacks. It traveled without fear toward their saint weapons and forced them to abandon their attacks to evade it. Otherwise, they would be forced to take an unbearable amount of damage. Seeing that all 3 of them were completely helpless in dealing with Jian Chen, the 3 of them felt extremely furious. Immediately, the sect master and the elder of the sect of Dragon and Tiger let out a roar and simultaneously used their battle skills against Jian Chen. The 2 saint weapons shined with an eye-stabbing amount of light and streaked through the sky with the speed of lightning. With their attacks came a pressure that seemed like it could squash the world. Sensing the pressure press against his body, Jian Chen's lips curled into a sneer and spoke coldly, "You think a mere earth-tier battle skill could injure me?" Whoosh! Whoosh! As he spoke, Jian Chen let loose 2 stabs of his sword toward the 2 battle skills. 2 simultaneous explosions could be heard as the energy from the earth-tier battle skills exploded on contact. A storm of dust then concealed the figures of all 4 combatants. Jian Chen's entire body began to glow with a dazzling light. At a thought, he began to bring the element of wind around his body and envelop himself within it, bringing about a squall of wind. With a flash of azure light, the gradual pickup of the wind element carried Jian Chen's body forward. In the blink of an eye, he had arrived right in front of Chris. With a brandish of his right hand, the origin energy in his began to lash out in a series of intricate sword slashes toward Chris. Chris' face blanched, and he immediately retreated backward to avoid going against Jian Chen. Right now, the other 2 fighters of the sect of Dragon and Tiger had been blown 10 meters away because of the fierce explosion. They wouldn't be able to get to Chris in time. Jian Chen knew this was an excellent time to pick them off one by one, so there was no way he would lose this chance. Immediately charging ahead, he chased after Chris without abandon. Although Chris was a 6th cycle Heaven Saint Master, he was not of the wind element, so his speed would not even be close to comparable with Jian Chen's. The distance between the 2 of them was quickly closed. In the blink of an eye, Jian Chen caught up to him. The entire sky was filled with the azure and violet light as it burst out from every part of Jian Chen's body, leaving no escape for Chris. Then allow me, Chris, to experience just how dangerous this mysterious power, Hu Ba said, is. Chris' eyes flashed dangerously. Without stepping back, he brought his sword down to stab at Jian Chen with all his might. Chris' giant sword stabbed toward the spot in front of him with an irresistible force and without any bit of resistance. As his giant sword came close to Jian Chen's chest, there was a crisp sound of contact that occurred afterward. Ding! The origin energy of the sword spirits made contact with Chris' saint weapon with the unfathomable sound of metal hitting metal. The origin energy had been fully condensed, and although it was not the same type of substance as a saint weapon, it was already as durable as steel. A moment after the sound rang out, Chris' face suddenly blanched before a mouthful of blood came spitting out from his lips. Although Chris was a 6th cycle Heaven Saint Master, the saint weapon was still intrinsically connected to its owner. If the saint weapon was hurt, then, no matter how strong the owner was, they would gain a proportional amount of damage. Even a saint ruler would be no exception. This power is indeed terrifying. Hu Ba was correct, we cannot go head-to-head against him. Chris exclaimed to himself in astonishment. After personally witnessing the terrifying power of the origin energy, he now knew just how amazing it was. As that line of thought ran across Chris' mind, Jian Chen brought 2 more sword slashes down onto Chris' saint weapon before he could bring it back. Chris' body began to tremble violently as another 2 or 3 spurts of blood came flying out. His face became deathly pale as 3 new chips appeared on his sword, bringing his body to an even more injured state. Sect Master. Be careful, Sect Master. Seeing Chris injured, Hu Ba and the other elder had let out identical cries of astonishment. Immediately flying forward with all their might, they tried to do their best to distract Jian Chen so that Chris would not be further injured or killed. A damaged saint weapon would cause a grave amount of damage to the body. Chris' fighting ability had already been diminished to the point of being no concern. Since Jian Chen wasn't after Chris' life, he simply stopped fighting him. He changed his targets to Hu Ba and the other 5th cycle Heaven Saint Master and did his best to fight against them. The pressure on Jian Chen had noticeably decreased with 1 6th cycle Heaven Saint Master short in the battle. He was able to unleash an endless amount of refined sword moves one after another by using the origin energy as his sword. With his attainments in the path of the sword, he quickly inflicted serious damage on both Hu Ba and the other, causing them both to spit out blood. Damn it all, what power is that for it to be so strong? Hu Ba cursed while wiping the blood away from his mouth. The origin energy of the sword spirits made him so afraid to act because of the thought of hurting himself. Despite the power in his body, he was completely unable and afraid of using it, which made him very sullen. Just at that moment, a tremendous amount of energy suddenly filled the air. In that instant, the clouds in the skies had begun to swirl and the wind had transformed into a hissing gale that pierced the ears. Above everyone's heads, a black cloud had started to quickly form and blot out the surrounding sunlight and drain color away from the area. Heaven Tier Battle Skill. Jian Chen exclaimed in realization. Turning his head to look in a certain direction, he could see Qin Wuming, Qin Wutian, and Qin Wujian all releasing their Heaven Tier battle skills at the same time. The 3 battle skills were identical, so when they used them all at the same time, there was a sort of resonance between the 3. They harmonized and made the power of the Heaven Tier battle skill skyrocket. Don't think that you alone hold the monopoly on Heaven Tier battle skills. Our sect of Dragon and Tiger are in no shortage of them either. An individual roared before a tremendous amount of power shot out from him as he used his own Heaven Tier battle skill. After this announcement, 3 other members from the sect of Dragon and Tiger used their own Heaven Tier battle skills. Although the effect of their battle skills didn't achieve the same level of effect as the 3 generals, there was an advantage in numbers which brought the overall power to a tie. Seeing this sight, Chris suddenly blanched before crying out, "No! Stop!" 7 Heaven Tier battle skills would bring about a tremendous amount of energy whiplash and could destroy the mountain quite easily. This was where the sect of Dragon and Tiger lived, and while there was a barrier that could protect them from any danger, the mountain would not be shielded. In the case that the mountain was destroyed, then the foundations of the sect would be gone, and the aftermath of such a thing was not something Sectmaster Chris had wanted. Unfortunately, because of the prior events, both sides had already been brought to a boiling point where they could not even think of the repercussions. Despite Chris opening his mouth in warning, he was far too late. Jian Chen grew grim as well. Immediately retreating several kilometers, his mind moved into action and brought the earth element in the world toward him before ultimately wrapping it around his body to form a yellow armor. Against 7 heaven-tier battle skills, the amount of power that would result from them was many times stronger than a single heaven-tier battle skill. Jian Chen had to be as careful as he could. While the armor of the earth element would be like paper in front of a heaven saint master, it could at least protect his clothes and prevent him from getting into a difficult situation. This would also give Jian Chen a shallow level of defense since he didn't have Saint Force protecting him like the others. At this moment, the 10 fighters from the Qinhuang Kingdom and the remaining members of the sect of Dragon and Tiger had ceased their fighting to get as far away from the 5 as they could. Their Saint Force had already bubbled out and formed a protective layering around them in preparation to withstand the aftermath from the 7 heaven-tier battle skills. Just as everyone was preparing their defenses, the 7 battle skills had finally finished their own preparations. Following a furious roar, all 7 unleashed them at the same time. A strong energy ripped apart the space between them, creating several tiny cracks throughout it. 10 meters within these cracks, the space began to swirl and surge about. In that instant, the 7 battle skills clashed together. But it was what happened afterwards that had caused everyone to widen their eyes in shock and disbelief. Just when the 7 battle skills clashed, there wasn't even a single bit of sound afterward. Not a bit of energy could be seen washing over the area, and the energy that had wrapped around the 7 saint weapons had disappeared without a trace. At this show, everyone was completely stunned. A barrier is blocking them. A voice cried out. Hearing this, everyone's eyes immediately locked onto a spot in between the 7 people. Sure enough, there was a barrier that had appeared out of nowhere. It divided the Heaven Saint Masters from the Qinhuang Kingdom and the sect of Dragon and Tiger. But not only that, the saint weapons from the 7 had been taken away as well. At this sight everyone, Jian Chen included, let out a gasp in shock. Not a single one of them needed to think to know that the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger had finally put his hand into this battle. However, what they didn't think of was that the saint ruler would be strong enough to stop 7 heaven-tier battle skills by a barrier without a problem or letting any energy escape. Is that the might of a saint ruler? Jian Chen's thoughts were in turmoil. In the past he conjectured about their strength many times over. Although he could admit that they were all an existence of unbelievable strength, he would never have imagined that their strength would be at such a terrifying level like this. Under a saint ruler, all are ants. This saying was indeed not a false one. Chapter 509, Might of a Saint Ruler, 3, It's the Elder Sect Master. He has come. Seeing the barrier that obstructed the people there, the sect master Chris felt a surge of emotions flash over his face, forcing him to cry out in astonishment. The hidden saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger had finally come out, causing the fighters from the sect to have a look of joy appear on their faces. The disaster that had nearly befell them had been avoided at last. 7 heaven-tier battle skills would have caused the entire mountain range to collapse, which would destroy the foundations of the sect that had been protected from being destroyed by a barrier. Although this wouldn't kill many disciples of the sect, the destruction of the sect itself would be an extreme sign of humiliation. The elder sect master is far too strong. Even without showing himself, he has managed to put down a barrier right in front of 7 heaven-tier battle skills. Is this the true extent of a saint ruler's strength? There is truly a tremendous gap between a heaven saint master and a saint ruler. With a pale face, the heavily injured Hu Ba muttered to himself in a daze as he looked at the barrier. The elder sect master of the sect of Dragon and Tiger spent all of his time hidden in the mountains cultivating and never appeared in front of anyone. Although many people knew that there was a saint ruler in the sect, no one had seen him for hundreds of years, nor had the saint ruler ever personally taken part of a battle. The spectacle in front of him was a first for Hu Ba. From childhood to now, this was the very first time he had seen the hermit saint ruler taking action. Seeing their elder sect master caused all of the individuals from the sect of Dragon and Tiger to be overjoyed. To them, as long as the elder sect master came forward, then even the most problematic of problems would be neutralized. After all, a saint ruler was something even the Qinhuang kingdom would have to take seriously. On the other side, the 10 members from the Qinhuang kingdom and the 3 generals all displayed extremely grim expressions on their faces. There was no surprise, however. They had expected the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger to make an appearance. Disciples of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, stand back. Just at that moment, an elderly voice echoed across the sky. It was unknown just where this voice had come from, but it sounded calm despite the booming volume and echo. Yes, elder sect master. The heaven saint masters of the sect of Dragon and Tiger flew toward the interior of their sect as obediently as a baby. Chris, Hu Ba, and Mose Pen. You 3 stay here. The elder sect master's voice could be heard once more as he called out for those 3 individuals. Hearing this, the 3 that had been called were stunned. Their feet immediately halted as they stood in place without another sound. Not even a question was asked. The vice sect leader Hu Ba had been extremely moved. He had not thought that the elder sect master would unexpectedly know his name. To him, the elder sect master knowing his name was an extremely glorious honor. Everyone from the Qinhuang kingdom stood still without a sound. Against a saint ruler, they all felt as if their movements and actions were limited. It was no longer as easy as it was when they were fighting against the heaven saint masters. When Jian Chen personally saw that the 3 people he had been fighting with were told to remain, his heart began to drop. He was already realizing that the situation was taking a turn for the worst. These 3 men that had been told to stay behind were the ones who had their saint weapons chipped by the origin energy and were heavily injured. If the saint ruler had told them to remain behind, could he plan to support them? Quickly, the 10 individuals from the sect of Dragon and Tiger retreated into the sect. They were behind the barrier of the sect where they could continue observing. At this moment, the saint ruler's voice could be heard once more, men from the Qinhuang kingdom. In spite of everything, you've decided to take action against my sect of Dragon and Tiger. Did you take my sect to be that easy to bully? As he spoke, the kindly voice he has used before transformed to gain a hint of steel. Senior of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, this business was started because of your sect. If we were to ignore the matter with the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, there is still the matter that happened several days ago. Our orders were to arrest a criminal from the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom and escort him back to us, but along the way, the individuals from your sect of Dragon and Tiger ambushed us. Not only was the criminal rescued away from our Qinhuang kingdom, your people also inflicted serious injuries upon my son. I would like to invite Senior to come speak to us about this. Qin Wuming spoke righteously. Nonsense. What criminal of the Qinhuang kingdom? The second prince of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is one with our sect of Dragon and Tiger. How could he be sent away like a criminal to your esteemed Qinhuang kingdom? The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom had already been given to our sect to govern and became our territory to uphold. Likewise, if we were to ignore that your Qinhuang kingdom were trying to seize the territory of ours, you still wish to capture one of our own men. What reason is there for that? The vice sect leader Hu Ba roared. Xiao Tian sneered. Since when did the second prince of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom become one of yours? According to what we know, the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom has nothing to do with the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Correct, Carlo is the second prince of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, but his mother is the great-granddaughter of the sect master, Chris. Thus, Carlo is considered to be a direct descendant of our sect of Dragon and Tiger. He is no outsider. As for the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, the king of the kingdom had decided to give it to our sect of Dragon and Tiger for a long time ago, making that territory ours. This time it was Mospen that spoke. Despite his heavy injuries, his voice was still as exuberant as ever. Soon, the two sides descended into an argumentative clamor before the Saint Ruler finally spoke. Enough, no more squabbling. At a word, both the sect of Dragon and Tiger and the Qinhuang Kingdom obediently closed their mouths. They dared to speak reason to the Saint Ruler, but not to go against him. The Saint Ruler began to speak. The second prince of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom is a member of our sect of Dragon and Tiger. For such a small reason, we cannot hand him over to your Qinhuang Kingdom. Men from the Qinhuang Kingdom, you have squabbled, and you have fought. This business ends here. To make amends for the injuries inflicted upon you by our sect of Dragon and Tiger, we shall offer you the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Now, you may all leave. Hearing this, everyone from the Qinhuang Kingdom revealed ugly looks on their faces. While the Saint Ruler's words could be considered to sound kind, his way of doing things was hegemonic in nature. Not only was he protecting the second prince, he was also shifting the responsibilities of the sect of Dragon and Tiger completely. The Heavenly Eagle Kingdom was already considered part of the Qinhuang Kingdom, so gifting it or not made no difference. Unless, the sect of Dragon and Tiger was willing to fight the Qinhuang Kingdom for territory. The still hidden Saint Ruler spoke again after that. Now that the business between the Qinhuang Kingdom and the sect of Dragon and Tiger is settled, there is still the problem of what happened to Chris and the other two. Their saint weapons were damaged, and although it can be healed, their vital energy has been injured as well. The youngster who damaged them 3, it is time you offer your compense to my sect of Dragon and Tiger. Jian Chen growled furiously. I had no idea that Senior would deal in such a manner like this. The men from the Qinhuang Kingdom all blanched. Jian Chen was the imperial protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom, but he had injured the 3 experts from the sect of Dragon and Tiger. To demand that the Grand Imperial Protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom give compensation, was simply a slap in the face to the Qinhuang Kingdom. Humph. A mere Heaven Saint Master dares speak back to me. Unknowingly, the hidden Saint Ruler suddenly grew furious. At his words, a transparent barrier suddenly appeared around Jian Chen's body, trapping him inside like a prisoner. This barrier was personally created by a Saint Ruler and was far stronger than the barriers Jian Chen had seen used by the influential clan members back in the gathering of the mercenaries in Mercenary City. Even if a Heaven Saint Master were to use a Heaven tier battle skill, it wouldn't be able to break apart this seemingly weak barrier. Seeing that Jian Chen had been trapped by the Saint Ruler, everyone from the Qinhuang Kingdom grew indignant. Xiao Tian himself immediately shouted, "Senior, what is the meaning of this? Could it be that you wish to make our Qinhuang Kingdom an enemy? Your sect of Dragon and Tiger is too savage, do you wish to start a war?" Everyone from the Qinhuang Kingdom felt indignant at this injustice. Each one of them was extremely angry at the Saint Ruler's conduct. If not for the fact that they were up against a Saint Ruler, they would have leaped into action a long time ago. Jian Chen was angry as well. Although he was extremely afraid of the strength of a Saint Ruler, he was not such a man that would bow and scrape his head when bullied. Using the origin energy of the sword spirits, he began to stab at the barrier without any hesitation. Jian Chen wasn't certain if the origin energy would be enough to break through the barrier that a Saint Ruler had personally put down, but now was fortunately a good time to test it out. Bow! Just as the origin energy stabbed into the barrier, there was a light sound as the barrier surrounding Jian Chen completely shattered. The barrier that had been strong enough to withstand 7 Heaven tier battle skills seemed like a balloon popped with a needle in front of Jian Chen. At this sight, everyone from both the Qinhuang Kingdom and the sect of Dragon and Tiger had been shocked into silence. Each one of them had a look of sheer disbelief on their faces. The still hidden Saint Ruler had let out a surprised cry. He was clearly astonished that Jian Chen was able to pierce through the barrier he had put down. The entire place was quiet for some time before the Saint Ruler finally spoke once more. "Youngster, what power is that you have? Tell me how you obtained such a power and this old man will let you go." The origin energy of the azure and violet sword spirits caused even the Saint Ruler to covet it. "Don't think that I would tell you." Jian Chen replied without hesitation. "You seek death." The Saint Ruler was furious. The entire horizon seemed to surge with energy as a tremendous amount of pressure came forth from the sect of Dragon and Tiger toward Jian Chen. Seeing that the Saint Ruler was about to make a move, Xiao Tian's face drained of color before hurriedly shouting, "Halt! That is the Imperial Protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom. Do you think that you could act toward an Imperial Protector with success?" The pressure in the sky quickly disappeared and the surge of energy on the horizon just as quickly calmed down as well. Xiao Tian's words had stopped the Saint Ruler from doing anything to Jian Chen. An Imperial Protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom was in particularly quite special. The Saint Ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger himself could not just injure one without reason. In the case that he did, then all pretense of cordiality between the Qinhuang Kingdom and the sect of Dragon and Tiger would be dropped and the Qinhuang Kingdom would immediately march for them in open war. "This youth is the Imperial Protector of the Qinhuang Kingdom?" The Saint Ruler asked, clearly not believing Jian Chen's identity. "Correct. Jian Chen is indeed the Imperial Protector of our Qinhuang Kingdom. His status is equivalent to the four honored Imperial Protectors of our Qinhuang Kingdom of the past." Qing Xiaofan spoke, clearly describing just how sublime Jian Chen's status was in the Qinhuang Kingdom. This time, the Saint Ruler remained quiet for a very long time. Although Jian Chen was just a heaven saint master, the fact that he was the Imperial Protector made the Saint Ruler afraid of the consequences. He knew in his heart that if he did not treat this matter with care, then the four Saint Rulers of the Qinhuang Kingdom would come themselves. "You may go now." The Saint Ruler's voice boomed half a moment later. Hearing this, the dark-faced Jian Chen and the others from the Qinhuang Kingdom gave each other a stare. With a faint nod, they left the area promptly. Everyone knew that with the Saint Ruler stepping out, it would make no sense for them to remain here any longer. It would be best to first leave and discuss things for the future. Just as everyone rose into the air, the horizons boomed with the voice of the Saint Ruler once more. "Although you are an Imperial Protector, you have offended this old man nonetheless. If I do not teach you a lesson here, then there will be others who will take me to be an easy target to bully." The space behind Jian Chen's body suddenly began to surge and twist violently within itself. A tremendous amount of energy came spiraling out from the space and slammed ruthlessly into Jian Chen's back. Chapter 510, Heavy Damages. Just as everyone rose into the air, the horizons boomed with the voice of the Saint Ruler once more. "Although you are an Imperial Protector, you have offended this old man nonetheless. If I do not teach you a lesson here, then there will be others who will take me to be an easy target to bully." The space behind Jian Chen's body suddenly began to surge and twist violently within itself. A tremendous amount of energy came spiraling out from the space and slammed ruthlessly into Jian Chen's back. Although Jian Chen had felt something coming toward his back, he was not able to do anything to dodge because the space around him had frozen for a moment. His body was stuck rigidly in place and was powerless to move in any direction. PFFF. Feeling an extremely large amount of energy slam into his back, Jian Chen spat out a large mouthful of blood and grew extremely pale in the face. The space that had frozen around him disappeared and returned to normal. Jian Chen's body flew forward like a bullet from the impact. 500 meters away he crashed into a nearby mountain peak. The entire area shattered, leaving Jian Chen in a hole for him to sink into. Experiencing this fierce impact, the entire mountain shook for a moment and emphasized just how strong of blow it had been. Imperial Protector. The 10 imperial advisors and the 3 generals from the Qinhuang kingdom cried out before flying toward that mountain. It was Xiao Tian that went to where Jian Chen had fallen and supported him back up from the hole. At this moment, Jian Chen's entire body hung on Xiao Tian's. Even standing was not a simple task for him at the time. His face was as pale as paper without any blood, and streams of blood had poured out from his mouth without stopping. The top part of his clothes had disappeared as if vaporized by the explosion. Not even a strip of cloth could be seen, leaving the entire part of his body bare. The injured part of Jian Chen's back was a mangled mess without any unbroken skin left to be seen. It was a dreadful wound that had ripped at his internal organs. Even his bones and blood vessels had been split. The strike of a saint ruler was capable of tearing apart space. Even if Jian Chen's body was tempered with the chaotic force, it would be the same as tofu in front of the saint ruler. Imperial Protector, are you okay? Take this Radiant Spirit Pill. Qin Wuming immediately took out a Radiant Spirit Pill from his space ring and administered it to Jian Chen in concern. Although a Radiant Spirit Pill was by far not enough to heal Jian Chen's wounds, it would at least temporarily stabilize his wounds and prevent them from getting any worse. Jian Chen gave several harsh coughs while spitting out several particles of parts from his body out from his mouth. Not only was the ground dyed red with blood, it had several bits of the ruptured parts of his internal organs. Jian Chen slowly opened his eyes to look at Xiao Tian, who was supporting him. Powerlessly, he sat down on a giant boulder and gasped for air. His entire body was devoid of strength for the time being because of the serious injuries. If his throat were to have something clogged in it, he would be powerless to say a word. Seeing that Jian Chen had been seriously injured by the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, everyone from the Qinhuang kingdom grew extremely dark in the face. A chilling glare could be seen as a fierce killing intent radiated from their eyes. Although they and Jian Chen had not yet reached an extremely personal level, Jian Chen was an imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom. He represented the face of the Qinhuang kingdom. For the saint ruler to inflict such a wound onto him, this was akin to having him ruthlessly slap the Qinhuang kingdom in the face without any regards. The saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger is far too unruly. This business can absolutely not be let go like this. Qin Wutian snarled, fury emerging from his body. We will ensure that the sect of Dragon and Tiger will pay a price for this. Let us return to the Qinhuang kingdom to report this to the esteemed 4 imperial protectors. This concerns the face of our Qinhuang kingdom and the millennia worth of reputation we have built up. Our imperial protectors will not sit idly for this. Qing Xiaofan spoke. Indeed. We must have the imperial protectors come on over. If we do not take back the prestige we lost, then our Qinhuang kingdom will have none left to remain on the Tianyuan continent, let alone remain as one of the strongest 8. Qin Wujian growled. Although the sect of Dragon and Tiger was very far away, everyone was extremely angry. None of them were afraid that the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger would hear them. Qin Wuming spoke. We should leave this area first and discuss our next course of action on the road. Yes, let's leave this place first. The wounds of the Imperial Protector are very heavy. He can't even rush down the roads, we must carry him. Xiao Tian spoke. Shortly afterward, Xiao Tian held up the injured Jian Chen and had the energy of the world surround him as they brought him into the air. As everyone was worried about the saint ruler attacking again, they surrounded him as they left. They all knew that Jian Chen was an extremely important figure to the Qinhuang kingdom. This was a future saint ruler, so his well-being was extremely crucial. 2 days later, everyone finally returned to the imperial palace of the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom. Although they had left days ago, the imperial palace was still extremely quiet. Only the sounds of the artisans working on the treasury could be heard. Without the express approval from the Qinhuang kingdom, no person or power would dare enter the imperial palace. Within the imperial palace, Xiao Tian escorted Jian Chen into a room to rest. Jian Chen lay powerlessly on the bed and the rest of the individuals from the Qinhuang kingdom stood on the other side with a grave expression. I will be using a secret art to heal myself, please see yourself out. Do not disturb me while I am healing myself. Jian Chen spoke weakly. All 13 of the Heaven Saint Masters bowed out from the room to allow Jian Chen to rest by himself in the secluded room. Withdrawing from Jian Chen's room, the 13 Heaven Saint Masters all sat down in front of a circular table. Solomon thought. Qin Wuming suddenly spoke out, Qing Xiaofan, you're a wind-attributed cultivator and faster than the rest of us. Head on back to the Qinhuang kingdom and report to the imperial protectors what happened. No matter why, we must get back the honor we have lost. No problem. Since there's no time to lose, I'll leave right away. With that, Qing Xiaofan stood up to leave. Hold on. Qin Wuming took out a map from his space ring to give to Qing Xiaofan. The closest kingdom with a space gate near us is the Dazhou kingdom. I've marked their location on the map, go to their kingdom and borrow their space gate to get back. Qing Xiaofan took the map and observed it for a while before putting it away and leaving the palace. After Qing Xiaofan left, Qin Wuming's eyes looked around the place before sighing, now we will have to wait here for any more information. The Saint Ruler is someone we alone cannot go against. We must await news from the imperial protectors. Afterward, the 12 Heaven Saint Masters remained within the imperial palace. However, no one dared disturb Jian Chen while he healed. He had the entire palace hall to recover in while the other 12 looked for their own palace halls to reside in around the entire place. In his room, Jian Chen remained weakly on the bed. After he felt the 12 Heaven Saint Masters leave, he finally began to make use of his mind to gather all of the Radiant Saint force in the world to begin his recovery. Jian Chen was at the equivalent level of a 6th-class Radiant Saint Master, so his ability to control the Radiant Saint force was far stronger than before. In a moment, a condensed milky white ball of Radiant Saint force appeared in the room. The entire room was basked in its light. To the human eye, it was a dazzling glow of light that was soft to the sight, not hurtful. Even to the naked eye, it gave off a glow that was brighter than the sun, but did not hurt the eyes at all. Instead, there was an especially comfortable feeling to it. On the bed, Jian Chen was already completely basked in the Radiant Saint force. He could see the Radiant Saint force around him traveling within his body at a lightning-quick speed. His body was a bottomless pit or a sponge that absorbed all of the Radiant Saint force without pause. Under the treatment of the Radiant Saint force, Jian Chen's injuries began to heal and recover at a rapid rate. The cracks over his skin and the injured internal organs in his body slowly began to recover. Even the fractured bones and blood vessels regrow at a rate that even the human eye could see. Since Jian Chen had used the chaotic force to temper his body's strength was many times stronger than before. With it being many times stronger, the recovery of his body had grown more difficult. It was no longer as simple as it was before. This was because the chaotic force had tempered his body to become stronger, meaning more Radiant Saint force would be required to recover his body to such a level. Jian Chen knew his body situation extremely well and felt quite helpless in his heart. The chaotic force had truly made his body far stronger than before, but in the case of an injury, it made recovery far more difficult instead of being easy like it was in the past. Jian Chen was willing to bet that the more he used the chaotic force to temper and strengthen his body, the more Radiant Saint force and the more strenuous it would be for recovery. At the very end, the Radiant Saint force would become useless in effect. It would appear I need to become a 7th-class Radiant Saint Master. This way, I'll be able to heal myself even after the chaotic force is used. Furthermore, there is still my brother's arms and legs as well as the white tiger cub's mother, Rum Guinness, to heal. Jian Chen thought to himself, but he himself knew that becoming a 7th-class Radiant Saint Master was still a long path to travel on. It was a path that was perhaps longer than the path from a Heaven Saint Master to a Saint Ruler. Chapter 5:11 Saint Ruler of the Qinhuang Kingdom. Jian Chen's usage of the Radiant Saint Force had been maintained for an entire day before his spirit consumption had finally been too much for him to take. In this time, a small portion of his body's wounds healed. It was not a complete recovery, but movement would not be too terribly hampered now. Afterward, Jian Chen sat cross-legged on his bed with his face unintentionally facing the sky as he began to recover the spirit that he had used up. This was the very first time he had to recover his energy in such a fashion ever since he became a Heaven Saint Master. With another day focused on restoration, Jian Chen's spirit had been replenished to the very max, where he then resumed using the Radiant Saint Force to heal his wounds. Continuing this pattern for 5 whole days, Jian Chen finally healed himself completely. Then, with a change of his clothes, he exited his palace halls. As soon as Jian Chen walked out from the halls, the 12 individuals from the Qinhuang Kingdom came gathering in one after another. For the past week, they had been keeping guard over him from all corners while monitoring the outside for anything. So, Jian Chen's departure from his bedroom had been easily spotted by them. Every single one of the 12 Heaven Saint Masters displayed stunned looks when they saw the healthy Jian Chen walk in front of them without a problem. Xiao Tian's mouth dropped open to ask, "Imperial Protector, your wounds have already fully healed?" Jian Chen nodded. "Correct. I am fully healed now. With the Radiant Spirit Pills and another secret method, my recovery rate was accelerated." Jian Chen's secret method had been Radiant Saint Force. The Radiant Saint Force was of a unique nature, and only Heaven Saint Masters or stronger would be able to sense it. Other people would be completely unable to sense it. Even with these Heaven Saint Masters, Jian Chen had spent the past few days making sure all of the Radiant Saint Force had been depleted so that none of the 12 would be able to sense it. Imperial Protector, Qing Xiaofan has already returned to the Qinhuang Kingdom to request the 4 ancestors to come straight away. Right now we will just need to remain here for several days. I have faith that they will come straight away. Until then, we should discuss the best method on how to deal with the sect of Dragon and Tiger. Qin Wuming spoke. That's fine. We'll stay here for 2 days. I especially will not let this matter with the sect of Dragon and Tiger end like so. Jian Chen spoke with a dangerous gleam in his eyes. That is to be expected. The Imperial Protector's talent exceeds all others and could be said to be the first in the history of the Tianyuan continent. With such a frightening battle strength, no other Heaven Saint Masters can be a match. You could be said to be even the strongest one beneath Saint Rulers. In the future, when the Imperial Protector breaks through to the Saint Ruler realm, what fear would there be for the Saint Ruler of the measly sect of Dragon and Tiger? Even if the Saint Ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger established himself many years ago, I doubt he would be a match for the Imperial Protector then. Tian Luo spoke with a serious and earnest expression. After traveling with Jian Chen for days, the 5 Heaven Saint Masters that had gone with Jian Chen to the Jessan Kingdom already had a decent grasp of how strong he was. One may ask 2 5th cycle Heaven Saint Masters and a 6th cycle Heaven Saint Master, who had lost to Jian Chen, just how many people beneath the Saint Rulers on the Tianyuan continent would be able to accomplish the same thing? Furthermore, back in front of the mountain gates to the sect of Dragon and Tiger, Jian Chen had easily shattered the barrier that a Saint Ruler had personally placed on him. With such a glorious fighting strength, in the realm of Heaven Saint Masters aside from Jian Chen, what other person would be able to accomplish this same feat? The same day Jian Chen had fully recovered, Qing Xiaofan had reached the Dazhou Kingdom. After flashing proof of his identity, that he was from the Qinhuang Kingdom, the king of the Dazhou Kingdom treated him completely different than before and had become all smiles with him. Although the Dazhou Kingdom was quite far from the Jessan Kingdom and the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, the news that had transpired there made its way around like wildfire. Even the faraway Dazhou Kingdom had heard the news and understood that the Heavenly Eagle Kingdom, a kingdom that was not as weak as the Dazhou Kingdom, had been laid waste to and destroyed by 500,000 elite soldiers and more than a dozen individuals from the Qinhuang Kingdom. This had allowed even the commoners of the continent to see the terrifying might of one of the 8 great powers. When they learned that Qing Xiaofan was an imperial advisor for the Qinhuang kingdom and wished to use the space gate to return to the Qinhuang kingdom, the king of the Dazhou kingdom no longer held any doubts to his identity. He didn't even need proof that Qing Xiaofan was who he said he was before allowing him to pass through their space gate to the Qinhuang kingdom without any problems. After returning to the Qinhuang kingdom, Qing Xiaofan ran like the wind and lightning back to the imperial palace where the Qin Heaven Palace was. There was a total of 5 Qin Heaven Palaces in the imperial palace of the Qinhuang kingdom. Each one was dedicated specifically for an imperial protector to use. They were the 5 palaces that held the most power in the imperial palace, and even the palace of the king of the Qinhuang kingdom was incomparable. Qing Xiaofan arrived in front of one of the Qin Heaven Palace and was immediately stopped by one of the guards standing guard there. "Please halt here, Imperial Advisor. Without the permission of the honored Imperial Protector, no one may enter." The Imperial Guard spoke politely to Qing Xiaofan. Qing Xiaofan nodded his head. "If I may trouble you to ask the honored Imperial Protector, Qing Xiaofan has a matter of extreme importance to report. This matter relates to the honor of our Qinhuang kingdom and the Imperial Protector Jianchen." Hearing this, the Imperial Guard knew that this matter was of critical importance. Solemnly, he replied, "Please wait here, Imperial Advisor. This humble officer will immediately report to the honored Imperial Protector." With that, the Imperial Guard captain personally ran into the palace. Rapidly, the captain came running back out from the Qin Heaven Palace and spoke to Qing Xiaofan, "Imperial Advisor, please enter." With a bow, Qing Xiaofan sucked in a deep breath and tidied up his own clothes before striding into the Qin Heaven Palace. "By the request of the honored Imperial Protector, please follow this slave servant, Imperial Advisor Qing Xiaofan." As soon as Qing Xiaofan entered the palace halls, a maid called out to him to follow her. Not long after, the two came to a stop outside of a room. The doors to the room were closed shut, and the maid made no efforts to open them. Merely standing outside of them, she spoke respectfully, "A report for the honored Imperial Protector, the Imperial Advisor Qing Xiaofan has been brought. You may leave." A gentle but ample voice called out from within the room. From the voice, one could just barely make out the fact that this speaker was a middle-aged man. "Yes, this slave servant will now depart." The maid bowed before the door and left the area with light footsteps. Qing Xiaofan wishes to pay his respects to the honored Imperial Protector. After the maid had left, Qing Xiaofan immediately bowed ritualistically to the doors respectfully. Behind these doors, there was a hermit at the level of a saint ruler. An entity that was essentially a paramount. "Qing Xiaofan, you have a matter to report." The man was still speaking quite gently, giving a warm and cordial sense. Compared to the saint ruler of the sect of Dragon and Tiger, it was completely different. "Honored Imperial Protector, the matters is as it stands." After making his opening statement, Qing Xiaofan spoke in great detail of what had happened. He made sure to emphasize the rampant matters of the sect of Dragon and Tiger and how they did not place the Qinhuang kingdom in their eyes at all. It was hard to hide the fury in his eyes, and at last, Qing Xiaofan spoke of how the saint ruler had clearly known and acknowledged that Jian Chen was an imperial protector of the Qinhuang kingdom and had still inflicted a serious wound onto him. Even the imperial protector in the room felt quite indignant after listening to Qing Xiaofan's story. The sect of Dragon and Tiger knew that Jian Chen was an imperial protector for our Qinhuang kingdom and still dared to attack him. "This is simply an act against our Qinhuang kingdom. Qing Xiaofan, you acted appropriately. We of the Qinhuang kingdom must protect the millennia of honor our country has built up. We will simply not allow anyone to challenge or make an enemy of our Qinhuang kingdom. You may leave first. I will go discuss with the other 3. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.